You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Temperatures dropping as we speak. Right now, roads aren't all that bad, but in a few hours, we're going to see icy conditions across a lot of Middle Tennessee, and then another blast of very cold weather coming up in your Code Red forecast.
Some neighborhood back roads have not been treated. We'll tell you NDOT's plan to tackle the conditions next.
And a man once arrested in Nashville in a murder case is now under arrest in Washington State. We're going to tell you about the charges in the case and his Nashville history. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 17 News this morning. Congratulations, you made it to Friday. I'm Justin McFarland. The Mid-State has not had a week like this in a long time. Let's get over to Greg Bobus. He's got the very latest on the overnight freezing rain and the cold temperatures that we are now set in for.
We are still in the middle of all this, and every Friday, I enjoy it so much. Justin says, congratulations, you made it. If there was ever a week in the last year, the last calendar year, to say, congratulations, you made it to Friday, boy, are we talking about it. Now, we're not done. We have to look ahead. Right now, temperatures are a little bit above freezing, right side of your screen. We are just above the 32-degree mark. They're going to fall the entire day. That includes the next 2-3 hours before most of our road traffic gets out there. Secondary roads, all of your neighborhood roads, everywhere that has not been touched is going to have the layers of ice, snow, and ice. We're talking about layers of things we have to just try to attempt to drive over. Dangerous wind chills move in after that. Tonight and tomorrow night, we're going to have wind chill values that are well below zero once again. We're warmer next week, but the next 72 hours are pivotal getting to that warmer trend that does move in for us. So taking a look, what are we tracking today? What are we just watching out for? We're watching out for icy conditions this morning. It's going to happen gradually throughout the day. Now, the lesser traveled the road is that you might have to go down, the icier it will be throughout today as we go toward the 20-degree mark by 6 p.m. Every hour of today will be cooler than the hour before it. Secondary roads, a big freeze ahead. Watch out for black ice. And a good way to do that is if you have street lights in your neighborhood and everything looks good to go, but you see a little reflection off of what looks like regularly cleared pavement, there could be ice ahead of you. Winter weather alerts are still in effect until 9 a.m. when it comes to driving conditions, and then a wind chill advisory will be in effect going into tonight and tomorrow night. A lot to unpack here in your Code Red forecast on a Friday, Justin.
Steer clear traffic out there for you this morning. Let's get to the latest happening on our roads. Despite the ice, we are looking pretty good out there. We do have this one problem spot on Ellington Parkway here. This is going to be the result of a multi-vehicle crash, we're told, right along Ellington Parkway near Spring Street at the exit. Authorities have been on this scene now for a little while. Seems to be in the clearing stages here. So we expect they'll be out of there in the next 30 minutes or so. In the meantime, that's the only thing we've got going on. We're going to check your conditions near the airport coming up here in the next few minutes. Some things you should know about if you've got business over there. Continuing coverage as Nashville's Department of Transportation is now working to clear the roads. This is after that winter storm struck Middle Tennessee earlier in the week. Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse live for us this morning in the 12th South neighborhood. Peyton, what are you seeing there?
Good morning, Justin. So I'm on Eastwood Avenue in 12 South, and this is one of the neighborhood back roads that's very icy. We're going to have our photographer, if you can kind of see the layers that Greg was talking about, our meteorologist, of snow and ice. That's exactly what we're seeing here. This road clearly has not been treated, but NDOT, they tell us before the second winter storm hit Thursday, primary roads were looking good. That's like Briley Parkway, Harding Place, which a lot of those are TDOT roads, but they work in conjunction with the city, and the city is working to wrap up secondary roads, which has to get cleared before crews start working on neighborhoods.
We have things set up on a first call, first serve basis through Hub Nashville, and we will start on those immediately when we get our secondaries cleared. Now, that being said, there's probably over 500 calls on those neighborhood streets right now.
NDOT says depending on how the roads look later today, after this second round cleared last night, that's going to determine the areas that they need to focus on next. And if the primary roads are bad and the secondary roads are bad, they're going to have to start all over from square one, treating the primary roads again and the secondary roads. Reporting in 12 South, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Thank you so much, Peyton. We appreciate it. In Operation Crime and Justice, a man once arrested in an infamous Nashville murder case is now behind bars in Washington state. Patrick Streeter is now being charged with attempted rape. More than a decade ago, Metro Police arrested him for murders of Tiffany Campbell and Melissa Chilton. He was later released after DNA results did not connect him to the crime. He's currently being held in the King County Jail. Again, this is in Washington. King County is Seattle, Washington, to be exact. He's being held out there for a $250,000 bond. Well, coming up, the victim of a deadly fire in Clarksville has now been identified. We're going to tell you how the situation unfolded after a neighbor called 911. And Fox 17 News continues to follow your Code Red weather alert. We've been in Code Red all week. We got to do at least one more day as we've got frigid weather, black ice to worry about, and the temperatures are going to drop yet again. Greg Bovis has got the details when we come back.
Alert.
.08 is the time. A sad update this morning as the Clarksville Fire Department has now identified a woman killed in a fire that took place on Wednesday night. The department says that a neighbor of 50-year-old Gina West called 911 after smelling smoke from her apartment. Crews put out the fire and found her in the apartment. Unfortunately, she has died. Let's talk about what Metro Police are doing this morning. They say a teenager was arrested on Wednesday, and now he's accused of auto theft and other charges. Detectives have now found 19-year-old Nicholas Dalton, reportedly driving a stolen Dodge. Police say that Dalton had key fobs and tools to steal cars with him. He's now being charged with auto theft as well as driving on a suspended license and other charges as well. On a brighter note, the winter weather did create a beautiful scene like this one. Thank you to Scott, who sent this particular email. Scott Malden, he sent us this particular photo of Center Hill Lake. This is over in Putnam County. It's surrounded by snow. He snapped this while on just taking a look from the lake there on an overlook from Highway 56. Thank you so much, Scott, for sharing that photo with us. And we've been getting hundreds of photos in about the winter weather and its impact here in the mid-state. Let's get to Greg Bovis. He's going to tell us how much longer scenes like that are going to be around.
Next 2-3 days at least, Justin. And here's the thing. Yeah, we just saw it. It's beautiful to look at. The second you go out in it, it's a nightmare when it comes to driving around, how cold it's been, the snow coming down. Yesterday's freezing rain. Here is a look at the uptrend, but this is not going to be the entire day. I've got to really talk about temperature quite a bit this morning because we are a good 15 to 30 degrees warmer than yesterday morning at this exact same time. The problem is we have colder air that moves in the next 2 to 3 hours. We're at 30 right now in Nashville, 32 in Tullahoma, 31 in Lewisburg. By the time we go to just try to grab a bite to eat for dinner, we'll be in the upper teens to right near 20 degrees. That means all the roadways that have not been cleared, and even the ones that have, but aren't really well traveled all that much in the morning hours, could see ice develop very quickly here throughout this morning into the afternoon. 27 degrees when the sun rises here in about 2.5, 3 hours. Goes to 20 degrees by sundown. So the ups go to downs in temperature. Very atypical when it comes to our weather. We typically know the sun comes up, the temps go up. That is not the case, but our weather is pulling away as far as any freezing rain goes. However, coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk about 6 to 8 a.m. A few light snow showers are possible for a few of our southern Kentucky and Plateau counties. We'll look at that in Future Track in just moments.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's get out to Ellington Parkway, Spring Street. That's where we are dealing with the leftovers of a crash in that area that has at least one lane that is blocked. We do have a couple of things out there as far as your traffic is concerned once you get towards the airport. Let's take you over there to I-40 at Donaldson. Yeah, we're doing fine there. As far as the traffic getting there, you can see a little bit of shine on the road, so watch out for a little black ice. But the flights itself are looking okay. There are some cancellations out there, so please call ahead. Flights to places like Dallas and Philadelphia and Tampa and Chicago have also, New York, have also been canceled so far this morning. But we'll get to the very latest on that coming up in a few.
In a few minutes, I'll give you some tips to prevent your pipes from freezing and then bursting because of this cold weather.
And a scathing report from the U.S. Department of Justice as they take apart a police department's response to the Uvalde shooting down in Texas. We're going to tell you where they say law enforcement failed. Well, today is a very cold day, and it could get a lot colder coming up here this weekend. And that means people could be facing issues with frozen pipes that could cost you a lot of money, time, and, of course, irritation. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is live for us this morning to show us how you may be able to protect and prevent some of these problems with your pipes before they begin.
Good morning, Justin. Well, first, I'll tell you what we've heard from a plumbing, heating, and air conditioning company. They've received hundreds of calls regarding frozen and burst pipes. Now, I want to give you some tips to prevent that. I'm here in my kitchen. My pipes haven't burst at this moment, but let me just show you one of the simple things that you can do to prevent that money, time, and frustration. Just run your faucet water like this, just a steady stream overnight. It doesn't have to be all day. That's pretty simple. Another thing that you can do is open up your kitchen cabinets so that the warm air can flow through there. And in the event that your pipes are frozen patches of it, you can take a space heater by that frozen patch, or even take a hair dryer and just point the heated air and just make sure that it thaws out to prevent that pipe from bursting. Now, I got a few tips for you. So another one is that you can check your thermostat here to make sure that it is at least to 55 degrees. Don't let it go lower than that because you run the possibility of those pipes freezing and then bursting. And last but not least, if you come here, I can show you what my pipes look like. That metal pipe is covered by insulation, and that's exactly what you need to prevent your pipes from bursting. Now, insulation is not very costly. I just want to remind you that if you don't invest in insulation, that's going to cost you a lot more, because calling a plumber to come fix your broken pipes can cost anywhere from $80 to upwards of $200. Now, if your pipes have not burst, that doesn't mean you're in the clear, as we're seeing temperatures drop this weekend. So if you got anything from these tips, please make sure you use them. Reporting live in North Nashville, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, 4:17 is the time, so we want to know, have you had any damage or maintenance issues because of the winter weather? Most of you say no. 80% of you who have voted so far on this particular issue have said no. 20% of you have said yes. I know there's a lot of people in that yes category, but maybe not as many as we might think. So if you would like to vote for yourself, you can do so by scanning that QR code right there, and that way you can chime in for yourself on our X and on our Twitter page. You can find us at Fox Nashville. So how much longer will the cold hang around? Let's talk to Greg.
Yeah, right now we're kind of being tricked. We're in the 30s right now. We think, oh, okay.
Why is that a trick?
We have turned the corner. Well, we'll be at 20 by dinner time.
Okay.
And overnight wind chills below 0, and the overnight low is 5 degrees.
So it'll get colder as the sun comes up, is what you're trying to say.
Throughout the day, the sun comes up, the temperatures go down. You don't think that's how it's going to work. What I will tell you is when you're dripping those pipes too, use room temperature water or even cool water, because if you use the warm water, this is very contradictory, and I'm not going to go into the science behind it, but warm water actually freezes quicker than cold water does. So if you have a little blockage in your pipes, warm water will continue to freeze while you're trying to melt the cool water, or room temperature water will help when you're dripping your pipes. Taking a look here, Not only pipes but potholes. We're going to go from 21 degrees tomorrow to 30 on Sunday to 64 degrees on Thursday. If you don't have potholes in your neighborhood, but you have snow-covered roads, ice on top of it, and more ice from yesterday, you may have a very interesting commute Monday and Tuesday of next week. Warm, but it might be a little bit bumpy. Taking a look here, nothing on radar right now, but future track through 5, 6, and 7 o'clock. A few snow showers going to track in here for us here, and it could even leave a little dusting on top of what we had yesterday. Everything that came down, freezing rain, is not ice when it comes down. It's rain that hits any supercooled surface and instantly freezes. So snow, other ice, metal, roadways that are below freezing. That's what we had yesterday, and that will give us some ice later today when our temperatures drop out of the 30s.
Steer clear traffic out there for you this morning. We were following a crash on Ellington Parkway near Spring Street over there in the East Nashville area. Glad to see the crews have gotten out of there and we are good to go. No longer a problem there in East Nashville. Let's talk about something else happening, and that's I-40 at White Bridge Road. Normally, this is a place where the trucks take a little break, but the area where the trucks normally stop has been iced over. So the trucks not really stopping over there as much as they have been over the past couple of weeks. Hopefully, once the warmer weather gets here, that'll all melt away and the trucks will have their rest stop back. But right now, we're looking good over there on the west side. Let's turn to some national headlines as the U.S. Department of Justice has now released a report that tore apart the police department's response to the Uvalde, Texas shooting at a school. The U.S. Attorney General, Merrick Garland, now recounted the 77 minutes that officers failed to enter the classroom where students and a teacher were trapped with an active shooter.
The victims and survivors of the mass shooting at Robb Elementary on May 24th, 2022 deserve better. First and foremost, the 19 children and their 2 teachers who were stolen from their loved ones should be here today.
Well, Garland spoke from Texas. The report says that many officers didn't know who was in charge or what they should be doing or whether or not the active shooter was dead or alive. Officers also failed to correctly inform parents about their children's status or properly care for the wounded who were there at the school. A brand new survey shows that former President Trump is now holding a lead in New Hampshire in the Republican primary. According to Suffolk University, NBC 10 Boston, and the Boston Globe, former President Trump is holding a 50% lead among the likely voters there for the New Hampshire primary voters. Now, the former UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, is in second place with 36% of the vote. And then former governor of Florida, or actually the current governor of Florida, the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, just has 6% of the vote there in New Hampshire. Trump is far and ahead with the Republican lead there with voters. Haley is now closing a little ground with support of independents. Well, coming up, the snow was coming down, but that didn't stop the Titans as they kept on talking to candidates to replace Mike Vrabel. We're going to tell you who they spoke to just yesterday. And if you are checking out more of your snow photos this morning, we are getting this photo in. This is Boggy, the horse, who doesn't seem to be bothered about the snow at all. We'll be right back.
Watch Fox 7.
Well, the Tennessee Titans kept looking for their next head coach, despite the fact that the snow was coming down. It was snowing candidates really over there for the Titans, as a total of 7 candidates have now interviewed for this particular job. So let's review, shall we? A week ago, the team had its first couple of interviews with the Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan and the Giants OC Mike Kafka. On Saturday, The Titans interviewed the Raiders interim head coach, Antonio Pierce, as well as the Ravens defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. And then over the last few days, they've interviewed the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, the Panthers offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown, and the Texans offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick. The Titans have now requested other interviews out there, so we'll see exactly who else they'll be speaking with here over the next few days. I know they plan to talk to both the offensive and defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, who are busy preparing for a playoff game. Well, the Nashville Predators took on the Los Angeles Kings late last night out there on the West Coast, and the Preds were able to take home the 2-1 crown. Both teams were scoreless until the second period. That's when Roman Josi and Ryan O'Reilly pulled off a very neat redirection power play goal. The Kings did tie it up less than a minute later, but then Nashville snaps back with another goal right here to take the lead, and that's all they would need. Preds win 2-1. The Preds will move on to take on the Arizona Coyotes for afternoon puck drop of 2 p.m. tomorrow.
A look at our forecast. This has been a week. We're finally at Friday. Now let's look toward the weekend. We're not done with winter weather. Saturday, 21 degrees. Sunday, 30 degrees. Overnight tonight into tomorrow night as well. Both of those nights, a wind chill advisory in effect. Bitterly cold mornings, wind chill easily below zero tonight into tomorrow morning and tomorrow into Sunday morning. Sunday, plenty of sunshine. What I'm going to do for you here in the next 30 seconds is tell you to look at the right side of the 7-day forecast. Please look up and look at it. You can share your photos from all the snow, maybe the fun we've had, or just the misery we've had to go through. One or the other. We want to see your photos. What have you had to deal with this week, whether it be good or bad? You can share them anywhere, whether it's our social media accounts, all of us here on Fox 17 News This Morning, or you can go to fox17.com and very top of the screen, click on Chime In. Good place to also share your photos. You can also get the Fox 17 Code Red weather app. Very helpful when it goes into cold snaps, snow, rain. We've got you covered everywhere. You can scan the QR code or go to the App Store, whether it's Google Play or just the Apple App Store. Here's your 7-day forecast. Look at the right side of your screen, please. 59 degrees on Wednesday of next week, 64 degrees on Thursday. Everything we have when it comes to snow and ice that is on the ground right now that has made your week really tough will be gone by the middle of next week.
Steer clear traffic out there for you this morning at 428. Quick look at I-24. This is out there at Old Hickory Boulevard. This is in the Antioch Cane Ridge area. As you can see, traffic moving along without issue. We don't have any problems or crashes out there on the roads right now. Right now is the key word. As people wake up and get out and about, I do expect more things to happen, but right this second, we're doing okay.
Wondering when roads like this one in 12 South will get treated? We'll tell you NDOT's process coming up next.
Rain,
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Another day, another Code Red. This time around, bitterly cold temperatures settling in as we speak. What this means for ice for your morning and afternoon drives and taking you into the weekend.
A collaboration between a mid-state jail and the animal shelter is keeping dogs out of the cold and giving inmates a little compassion. We're going to tell you more about that story. Plus, your traffic this morning takes us north, I-65 Trinity Lane. Look at that. Nice, smooth traffic for now. There's still a lot of snow and ice out there. We're going to get to the very latest coming up in a few. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 17 News this morning. I am Justin McFarland, just after 4:30, and congratulations, you have made it to Friday. Let's get over to Greg Bopus. He's got the very latest on your Friday and now weekend forecast that will include some really cold temperatures.
That it will. The good news is that even though we're moving the arrow back to alert again for our 12 13 days, in the last 2 weeks. We're not going to bring down any additional precipitation after this morning. A few snowflakes in southern Kentucky and the Cumberland Plateau are possible here throughout the morning, then we're done. Defensive driving, though. Temperatures will drop every single hour from right now until 6 p.m. and then continue to fall after sunset. We're not getting any warmer than we are right now. Taking a look, a winter weather advisory in effect until 9 a.m. for all of Middle Tennessee, all of southern Kentucky. What that means is that driving will get a little more hazardous throughout the morning as temperatures do drop. There are still some wet roadways from the rain and freezing rain yesterday. Well, those are going to slick over and especially get a little more icy on the less traveled roads this morning. Even when the sun comes up, it's not going to help us. Then we have this tonight and tomorrow night, a wind chill advisory in effect. Wind chills go below 0 across all of Middle Tennessee for one last time. So we're not done with winter weather, but at least anything falling from the sky will be done after this morning. Current temp, 30 degrees. That is 2 degrees cooler than even just a half hour ago. These temperatures are falling and they will continue to fall throughout this morning. We'll see how low they go for your upcoming weekend. But more importantly, I'm going to start focusing on the good. A couple days next week that could be in the 60s. So we'll work through it and then find the good things ahead coming up in your forecast.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's get you out to Brentwood this morning. I want to start here. This is going to be Maryland Way and East Park Drive out there in Brentwood. This is one of the hills that I like to watch out there. Right now, things are fine. It'll be interesting to see how it behaves once we get into the morning drive, if there's going to be one. As I know, a lot of people have taken off this Friday, staying at home. I know a lot of the schools have called out, but that's the conditions of the road, at least for right now. The interstates are also pretty clear. We're going to take a look at those coming up in a few. We do have continuing coverage out there as the Metro Department of Transportation is working to try and clear the roads. This is after the winter storm really hit hard here in Middle Tennessee. Fox 17 News' Peyton Hughes joins us live over in 12 South to talk about the conditions of the road. And Peyton, still plenty of ice out there.
That's right, Justin. So we're on Eastwood Avenue in 12 South, and this is a big chunk of ice that we saw when we were walking around over here. And obviously you can see the roads, and I almost slipped, are slippery on these back roads. And NDOT tells us that there is a process in terms of which areas that they're going to clear out first. So they work on the primary roads first, and they say that they've made some progress when it comes to clearing out the primary roads, but these secondary roads have to be cleared before they can start working on neighborhoods like the one that I am standing on right now. And they tell us that the city is working to wrap up the secondary roads, but again, with the weather that we experienced last night, they have to wait and see until this morning what the conditions are looking like.
We need to be very careful because this rain has made a lot of those very treacherous. They're very slick. What traction you had, the rain kind of has melted away and basically going to create some ice. And that's what we're concerned about.
Now, that was the assistant director for NDOT, Philip Jones, and he says they're hoping things will clear out by Monday. But again, it depends on what the roads look like later today to determine where they're going to focus, because if the roads are not better, if the primary roads and secondary roads are in worse condition, then they're going to have to start that process all over again before they tackle neighborhood roads like this. And NDOT also says they've received about more than 500 calls for clearing out neighborhoods. Reporting in 12 South, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your code station.
All right, Peyton, thank you so much. 4:36 is the time. We've got continuing coverage of the winter weather as the Moore County Sheriff's Department down in Paris County, Tennessee, says that inmates with dogs from a local animal shelter who needed a place to stay warm have been a good pairing for them. Now, the department did partner up with the Friends of Animals in Lynchburg this week. The facility has outdoor kennels, which do not offer any protection against the frigid weather. So, the local sheriff, Tyler Hatfield, tells Fox 17 News that their trustee inmates are being allowed to care for some of their dogs.
When I came in this morning, they were taking each dog out basically on a walk to get them some kind of exercise, let them do their business early in the morning. They were feeding. And since I have been here, I've seen 2 or 3 walk by my office doors to go on short walks in and around just to make sure that we don't have any accidents.
The sheriff says that the pairing is just for the week, but it could become a regular thing. Who knows? Well, coming up, the son of President Biden, Hunter, has finally said that he will testify before a House Republican committee. We're going to tell you exactly when that hearing will take place on Capitol Hill. Plus, Fox 17 News is in a code red weather alert, and we are watching you and the snow. A reminder that not every dog loves the snow exactly the same way. Deandra sent us this particular photo. She says her dog Lacey, not a fan of the snow. It's written all over her face. Can't you tell? We'll be right back.
Watch Crisis in the Classroom.
Welcome back to Fox 17 News this morning. That's a live look there on Lower Broadway, where we are seeing less and less snow every day. Are running across quite a bit of ice out there, and that ice will hang with us at least through the weekend. Greg Bopus will have the latest on a very frigid forecast coming up in just a few. But first, some national headlines to tell you about this morning as the son of President Biden, Hunter Biden, officially agrees to testify before House Republicans, and it will be a closed-door hearing that's coming up on February the 28th. Now, this is after months of insistence from the president's son only testifying publicly. Republicans were set to advance a contempt resolution against Hunter Biden, but called it off earlier this week in hopes of reaching this kind of an agreement. The Bidens deny any kind of wrongdoing. Let's get to Greg. He's standing by with a look at a very cold forecast.
Yes, it is. And right now it's going to catch you off guard. You're going to walk out the door in the next hour and go, whoa, what do you mean cold forecast? This is the warmest we've been so far this week in the morning. We have temperatures in the upper 20s to right near 30. Road temperatures are in the upper 20s to near 30 degrees. Everything is going to fall throughout today. Road temperatures, air temperatures, and whatever's on the ground once we get past sunrise is going to stay there until Monday. That means snow, that means ice. Look at our temperatures dropping throughout today. 25 degrees at 10 a.m., 24 at 2 p.m., and 20 degrees by dinner time. We're going to go down every single hour of today. So unfortunately, even though we'll get a little bit of sun by the end of the day, it's not going to help us out all that much. No additional precipitation for most of us, but I'm watching north of our southern Kentucky counties right now. There are some snow showers getting closer and closer. We'll track those and see how much might actually end up sticking throughout this morning, coming up in the next check of your forecast. Justin?
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's get a good look out here at what we're facing at I-40 at Broadway. This is over on the West Loop. As you can see, traffic moving along without any issue. We're doing okay. Some of the side streets, some of the secondary roads, and some of the ramps, the on-ramps and off-ramps, they're going to be the places that are really going to be feeling the impact of the snow and ice more than any others. But right now, we're doing okay as you get out the door. We'll continue to watch it for you.
Hundreds of people have been dealing with their pipes bursting here in Nashville. In a few minutes, I'll give you the details on what you could do to prevent that.
Plus, the Mid-State is running low on blood donations. We're going to tell you why that could put off some surgeries and how you may be able to help solve the shortage.
This is Fox 17 this
4:44 is the time. We have heard countless people in Nashville talk about the issues they've had with frozen pipes because of the extreme cold. Well, Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is live to tell us exactly why it may be able to just do a couple of things that could save you a lot of time, effort, and money.
Good morning, Justin. Well, let me show you one of those things first. It's the simplest thing you can do. Check your thermostat. Every household has one of those. Mine is currently set at 71 degrees. It's nice, warm, and toasty here, but it's advised that you don't let it fall below 55 degrees because you run the risk of those pipes bursting. Now, another simple thing that you can do is run your water. Make sure that it's just a simple, steady stream like this and have it run all night. It's not advised to have it run all day, but that's your option to do that. You can also just open your kitchen cabinets to allow that warm air to flow in to prevent those pipes from freezing and then running the risk of bursting. And last but not least, just investing in insulation to cover those pipes. Now, if you and your friends don't have any pipes burst at this moment, it doesn't mean that you're in the clear. So I would take this advice if you can before moving into the colder weather this weekend. Now, coming up, the president of a plumbing, heating, and air conditioning company tells us the volume of calls he's seen. Reporting live in North Nashville, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
4:46 is the time, and in Tennessee, it is a icon's birthday, and I'm very surprised the state legislature hasn't made a move to declare this some type of holiday. But it is Dolly Parton's birthday. The country music legend turned 78 years old. Now, Dolly spent much of that time on an iconic musical career, while also kickstarting a lot of charities like Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. The Grand Ole Opry celebrating with Dolly Parton's music coming up tonight as the Opry goes Dolly. Also, the Ryman Auditorium is where other artists will also wish her a happy birthday with her very special style. A lot of covers of her famous hits and a lot more. So again, happy birthday to the legendary Dolly Parton. And Dolly said on X this morning that she's giving birthday fans a bit of a surprise, or she's giving her fans a birthday surprise. She's releasing 4 songs for the very first time. So 4 brand new songs she is releasing there. And again, that's on her X page if you wanted to check that out. Well, check out this prehistoric throwdown going on right here. These 2 T-Rexes have come from the past and they're battling in the snow. A lot of people having a lot of fun out there in the snow. Thank you very much to Logan for sending us this costumed dinosaur scuffle that looks like something I might see at a minor league baseball game. Looks like a lot of fun though. Let's get over to Greg Bobus. You know, we've seen them out there having a lot of fun. We've seen snow pictures from the dogs. We've seen the cows and bulls in the middle of the snow, horses, everybody getting in the action.
I mean, pretty much any animal that is outdoors, we have seen pictures of this week. We had pigs that were taking a break. We saw yesterday.
Yes.
And as you said, a break from what?
I don't know what the pig was taking a break from.
We're just piggying here today, but we're getting our way into the weekend. I will only give you a few more hours of the potential to see any winter weather coming from the sky. Now, still some cold temperatures ahead of us. That's not going to be, I think we can escape. That's going to be for everyone. This, though, most of us will not encounter. But if you're in southern Kentucky or the Cumberland Plateau, I want you to look closely and listen closely. We had the freezing rain and the rain yesterday. Now we're going to put down one last little coating of a little bit of snow that will move throughout this morning. Will it be a ton? Absolutely not. But could it cover up a little bit of that freezing rain we had and cool the ground much more quickly than areas that don't see it? Yes. By the end of today into tonight, we get rid of the cloud cover. It's pulling the blanket off of us again. That means tonight and tomorrow night, wind chill values go below 0. Actual air temperatures are going to be in the single digits. The weekend outlook, bitterly cold mornings. Sunday, we'll get some sunshine, but the morning will start at 3 degrees. Maybe we have morning church services. Maybe we have kids just all around town trying to get to their sporting events, gymnastics, the whole 9 yards. Everything is going to be cold this weekend. But look at the 7-day, right side of your screen. Let's show you it. Look at the right side of your screen, please. Please look at it. 59 degrees. Your temperature on Wednesday, 64 on Thursday. I'm calling that smile weather. Will we get some rain? Yes. That rain will knock out anything left on the ground and push all the salt off the roadways.
All right, Greg, thank you so much. Looking forward to that. Steer clear traffic coming to us here from I-24 at Almaville Road. This is out there close to the Nissan plant. Things are moving along just fine. No big problems out there at all. We're doing good. Of course, something will pop up eventually, and we will be there for you with Steer Clear Traffic live and local with you through 9. But right now, right this second, we're doing really nicely out there on the roads. Well, breaking news just into our newsroom. The Tennessee Emergency Management Agency says 17 people have died as a result of this week's winter weather. Yesterday, we reported that 14 people had died, so that number has ticked up just a little bit. TEMA says the additional 3 deaths happened in Marshall and Roane counties. Another round of dangerous cold, as Greg just talked about, is expected to move into Middle Tennessee this weekend, so please take precautions. Well, January is National Blood Donors Month, and it's the best time to donate as the blood shortage is currently hitting the Mid-State. Now, local organization Blood Assurance is recommending that hospitals around the region postpone elective surgeries until at least Wednesday. Blood Assurance says that the winter weather has decreased donations very recently, and they want to try to catch up. Now, the organization is hosting a blood drive later today, along with several Nashville Pride organizations. It commemorates changes by the FDA now allowing gay and bisexual people to donate blood more easily. The blood drive happens from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. at 2817 West End Avenue in Nashville. You can always find Red Cross blood drives at the Red Cross website. That is redcrossblood.org. Well, the federal health officials are now sounding the alarm over a salmonella outbreak linked to charcuterie meat trays, okay? Now, let me show you what we're talking about. These things right here, you see the different types of meat laid out there? They are saying that they are tracking nearly 50 cases of salmonella poisoning in 22 states, including 10 that have resulted in hospitalizations. The recall brands are right there on your screen. They're sold at places like Sam's Club and Costco. The CDC previously warned about a recall of a lot of these types of meats, but now the agency is advising retailers and consumers to avoid these particular brands completely. Well, coming up, no matter which team plays in the Super Bowl, we now know who's going to be performing. The country music legend that will be taking the stage. No, it's not them, I promise you. But there's a country music legend that will be taking the stage coming up in a few minutes. Maybe it's her. Just guessing. Plus, Fox 17 News is in a code red weather alert for you this morning as we talk about the big cold chill that's going to continue to drift across the Mid-State. We'll have more on that in a few.
Fox 17 News code.
4:55 is the time. Welcome back to Fox 17 News this morning. That is a live look there over Lower Broadway where things are more normal than what we've seen all week. The crews aren't quite back out there working it as of yet. We haven't seen the crane operators so far this week because of the cold weather, but I promise you they'll be back next week. And Greg will tell you exactly why they'll be back next week coming up here with his full forecast in a few. Well, we are not sure exactly which football teams will be playing in Super Bowl 58 just yet, but we know the game will provide a huge entertainment platform as they will take place out there in Las Vegas. It turns out that Reba McEntire, Post Malone, and Andra Day have all been confirmed as pre-game performers. Now, it will be Reba herself who will sing the national anthem for Super Bowl 58. Post Malone will take care of America the Beautiful, and Andra Day will be singing Lift Every Voice and Sing, otherwise known as the Black National Anthem. Usher will be the star of the halftime show, and he is releasing his 9th studio album on Super Bowl Sunday. It's all happening in Las Vegas out there at Allegiant Stadium coming up on February the 11th. Big day.
Very big day. They'll all be out there singing. I'll be on the couch eating buffalo chicken dip. Calling it a day. That's my Super Bowl. Taking a look right now. We are cold. Any way you can get warm into the weekend, please do it. This morning is a little deceiving. We have temperatures that are right near 30 degrees. They're going to get colder every single hour of today into this evening. And then we're going to go below zero for wind chill tonight and also do it again tomorrow night. So we get one more blast of cold after we work through a couple of little light snow flurries that'll be in southern Kentucky and also through the Cumberland Plateau. They're starting to move closer and closer, and we'll look at that as we go into our 5 o'clock half hour. Right now, winter weather advisory because of our dropping temperatures. Many of our roadways that had the rain and freezing rain, it has not actually slicked over just yet in a lot of places that have already been treated. The areas that have not, we've added a layer of ice to what was already on the ground. Please be careful heading out the door. What does this mean for today? Primary roads, use caution. Icy spots are possible. Bridges and overpasses. We're going to watch them. And these are the places you've got to watch. I don't care what the speed limit says. Go slow and go as slow as you need to navigate it properly and just make sure we're all okay. Extreme caution, though, on secondary roads that have not necessarily been covered or cleared from the snowpack that was covered on Monday. Watch that. A new coat of glaze right on top. Coming up when we go to our 5 o'clock half hour, we will track that incoming light snow for southern Kentucky and look ahead to those very cold temperatures for your weekend.
Steer clear traffic at 458. Quick look out here as we are facing the traffic. This is going to be I-40 at Spence Lane. As you make that drive over on the east side, as you can see, traffic moving along very nicely. This is the first morning we've seen all the lanes clear. Earlier this week, none of the lanes were clear, none of them. Then we had 2 lanes, and now this morning we're seeing all 4 lanes completely clear of the snow and the ice out there this morning. Certainly good news there. Other drives for you this morning include this one. This is going to be I-24 near Haywood Lane over on the south and east side. As you can see there, traffic moving along pretty well in that area as well. No major crashes so far. We'll continue to watch it for you. Well, get this. The unusual cold is even affecting ocean creatures. The Texas Sea Life Center in Corpus Christi says that they have rescued over 40 sea turtles. Now, the turtles were stunned by the cold and need some time to recover. Now, and they will be coming back to the center before going back out to the wild. I think we were all stunned, but the sea turtles, like, into shock, stunned. Axiom Space launched its 3rd private astronaut plane to the International Space Station on yesterday. Now, the capsule took off from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. The mission is the 3rd in a series of private astronaut missions by Axiom Space. The company wants to install commercial modules on the ISS. The mission crew is made up of 4 astronauts from Italy, Turkey, Sweden, and a dual U.S.-Spanish citizen. They should reach the International Space Station tomorrow, where they will spend 2 weeks there doing a lot of experiments. What a trip for those particular astronauts, or I guess, well, their astronauts are going up there, but citizens. This is a private venture going up there. Our 5 o'clock hour starts right now.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Code Red once again. We had the freezing rain and rain yesterday, which is beginning to ice over hour by hour throughout this morning. What that could mean for your commute, and then a major temperature crash going into the weekend in your forecast.
Some neighborhood back roads have not been treated. We'll tell you TDOT's plan on how to tackle roads like this one coming up next.
A lot to get to, but we do want to start by thanking you for waking up with us here bright and early on a Friday morning for Fox 17 News. I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has the morning off. The Tennessee Emergency Management Agency now letting us know that 17 people have died, all as a result of this week's winter storms. It's just devastating. TEMA telling us that the additional 3 deaths happened over in Marshall and Rowan counties. Joining us right now, though, to talk about this weekend's single-digit temperatures is our Code Red meteorologist, Greg Bovis. Greg, a lot of folks, I've been reading this, are saying, okay, we're fed up. We are done with this winter weather.
And unfortunately, we're not quite done yet. Now, I will tell you after this morning, anything falling from the sky when it comes to rain, freezing rain, snow, all the elements that we've had to endure this week, those will be done after this morning. But the cold temperatures settle in for 2 more nights. Tonight and tomorrow night, we're going to work through temperatures that will be in the single digits and wind chill values below 0. This is the beginning of a few snow showers we're going to see. There could be up to an inch of snow that ends up falling this morning. Hopkinsville through Bowling Green. This will pull toward Tompkinsville and then eventually move through Cookeville and Crossville throughout this morning. This in the last half hour has moved in. The bigger story is dropping temperature throughout the day. Right side of your screen, current temperatures are right near 30 degrees. By the time you're getting a bite to eat for dinner, whether you're at home trying to go out, whatever your situation is, it will be a good 10 to 12 degrees colder. So everything begins to freeze over throughout the nighttime hours. But take a look at this. Sunday morning, 4 degrees in Nashville, 4 degrees in Clarksville, 2 degrees in Cookeville. Thursday afternoon, 64 degrees in Nashville, 62 degrees in Clarksville, and 62 in Cookeville. We're going to turn that corner. Once we get done with the weekend, everything gets much, much warmer. Just give yourself another 72 hours to make sure we're bundled up, we're being careful on the roadways, and we're watching finally as we go into next week that snowpack and the ice begin to melt.
Greg, thank you. Seeing that perspective right there on the screen. Ooh, okay, I'm ready for the warm-up. Right now, though, we're going to show you a live look. This is over near the airport. We're checking in over there to see what it's going to look like. Nope, actually, we're taking another shot here on the camera screen. This is going to be I-24. Just kidding. This is the I-40 Donaldson Airport shot. We do want to show you what it looks like over there. A lot of folks are heading over to the airport this morning. So if you're heading out this way, this is looking very clear. Keep in mind, we've had some ground stops. It's been very busy in this area. But as of right now, we are giving you the green light. No issues for that spot. Again, this is I-40 over by the airports. Well, to kick off this Friday morning, we're sharing the top 3 things that you need to know before heading out the door. A stopgap funding bill was passed yesterday. Now a signature from President Joe Biden is expected this morning. This does prevent a partial government shutdown tonight. So creating new funding deadlines of March 1st and the 8th. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he is opposed to any Palestinian state. Israel needs security control in all the territory west of the Jordan River. The U.S. has called on Israel to go ahead and scale back its war against Gaza's Hamas rulers and consider a 2-state solution. We're also talking about politics here because the New Hampshire primary offers drama for Democrats as the Democratic National Convention is now pushing back against the Tuesday vote. The committee made South Carolina the first primary this election cycle, but New Hampshire leaders say state law requires them to hold the vote before any other state. Now, part of the effects do include President Biden not being on the ballot. Democratic voters would have to write his name in instead. We're going to go back to our bitterly cold temperatures now as Nashville's Department of Transportation. We know this. They're working around the clock trying to clear out those roads after the winter storm that hit Middle Tennessee. But are they making any progress? What do the roads look like? Here to tell us more is Fox 17 News reporter Peyton Muse joining us live on 12 South, a very busy area, especially on a Friday. What are you seeing in this spot?
Well, we're on Eastwood Avenue, Erica and Jen, and honestly, the roads here are so slippery. I almost fell a few times, but I want to step out of the frame and I'm going to have our photojournalist David zoom in. We're not going to show this gentleman's face, but he was trying to back up and he literally, you could see his car is stuck in, there's a hill over there. So, I mean, clearly this man had some angels watching over his shoulders because I'm sure if that car would have gone over anymore, he might not be here right now. A very scary sight to see, but it just goes to show that NDOT tells us with the weather that happened last night, their primary roads were looking good. The secondary roads were also, they were working on those, but now since this winter weather hit, they have to wait and see before they start tackling back roads like this one here in the 12th South area. Again, we're on Eastwood Avenue and it is very dangerous over here. This car slipped. We saw a Metro police officer. He almost got stuck as well. We're lucky that we have four-wheel drive, but again, NDOT says that they are assessing the situation. They're waiting to see kind of what the roads look like later today before they start tackling neighborhood back back roads like this one, they've had over 500 calls. And if your road is looking like this one, NDOT is suggesting people to go ahead and submit a claim into Hub Nashville so that way plows can get out here and start clearing up these roads because they are very dangerous. Reporting live in 12 South, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Peyton, thank you. Hoping that driver can get some assistance. A man once arrested in Nashville for a murder case is now under arrest in Washington state. The charges in this case and the Nashville history behind this. Plus, 5:07 is the time. Fox 17 News continuing our Code Red weather alert, talking about that shift to dangerously cold wind chills for the weekend.
This Fox 17 is.
Welcome back. 5:09 is the time here at Fox 17 News this Friday morning. In Operation Crime and Justice, we want to let you know that a man once arrested in the infamous Nashville murder case is now behind bars over in Washington state. We're giving you details about this. Patrick Streeter is now charged with attempted rape. More than a decade ago, Metro Police arrested Streeter for the murders of Tiffany Campbell and Melissa Chilton. Well, he was later released after DNA results did not connect him to the crime. Streeter is currently, though, being held in the King County Jail on a $250,000 bond. If you want to read more about that story, go to fox17news.com. We are changing the pace right now with this beautiful photo. I mean, it does not get any more stunning than this. The skies looking like cotton candy, the snow there in the distance. Noel sending us this shot of yesterday's sunrise from Cross Plains. Noel, thank you so much. I mean, Greg, does it get any better than this? It looks like something out of a fairy tale, so to speak.
I mean, it really does. It's one of those things where we love seeing photos like this because, Erica, we always talk about this. So we're stuck in the studio. Not that we don't want to be here, but we don't have windows. We can't watch the sunrise. We can't watch the sun set unless we're actually looking for it, but we're usually asleep.
Yeah, I appreciate that photo so much.
So when we can see what you guys are seeing every day, it adds a little bit of light, literally, to our day when we're in here trying to make sure you know what's going on, but you can enjoy a little snippet of it, even if it is cold, and we have had some snow and some rain. Winter weather advisory in effect until 9 a.m. We've had the freezing rain and rain from yesterday. That's going to get super cool very quickly in the coming hours as temperatures drop, so be careful driving around town. Then a winter advisory goes into effect tonight. We're going to go from about 30 degrees right now to 5 degrees 24 hours from now. You're going to wake up very cold again for your Saturday morning and your Sunday morning. We can't escape it. The cold is for everyone. When we talk about precipitation, it's who's going to get what. Right now, Bowling Green through Hopkinsville, we do have a little bit of snow coming down. That's going to go on top of the rain and freezing rain that many of us saw yesterday, and we could get up to potentially an inch of snow that tracks through. This is the coming hour or two, and then this moves into the Cumberland Plateau by 8 o'clock into 9 a.m. 95% of us don't see anything, but those of us that do could get a light coating of snow on top of the ice that will develop here in the next couple of hours.
Greg, thank you so much. We are checking back in on your Sure Clear traffic update to help you get out the door smoothly and hopefully save you some time. Now listen, you can see a lot of snow in this particular shot, but the good news is you're not seeing any of that snow accumulation out there on the highways. This is a live look at I-440. No issues to tell you about, looking really clear. We're hoping that we're not going to have any serious issues because folks likely don't have to go to work today with all the weather going on. We know that schools are out, but we'll continue sharing those traffic updates, of course, right here on Fox 17 News up until 9 a.m. Talking about the weather, though, Renee saw this view on Thursday morning, and wanted to share it with us. Those cotton candy skies showing out once again, looking fantastic. We're going to continue showing photos throughout our newscast, and don't forget, you can go to the Chime In tab at fox17news.com to share your photos and videos with us.
Looking to be the helicopter 35.
Welcome back to Fox 17 News this Friday morning. 5:15 is the time. Right now we're showing you a live look over on Lower Broadway where the lights are flashing and the snow does not look as bad as earlier this week. We do want to remind you, though, that a thin glaze of ice is possible on those back roads. Give yourself plenty of extra time, even on the treated roads, but right now Lower Broadway is looking just fine. Switching gears here, a Justice Department report released yesterday tore apart the police response over in the Uvalde, Texas area after a school shooting there. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland recounted the 77 minutes that officers failed to enter the classroom where students and teachers were trapped with an active shooter. The details hard to hear.
The victims and survivors of the mass shooting at Robb Elementary on May 24th, 2022 deserve better. First and foremost, the 19 children and their 2 teachers who were stolen from their loved ones should be here today.
Well, Garland there speaking from Uvalde, Texas. The report stated that many officers did not know who was in charge or what they should do or whether the active shooter was dead or alive. Officers also failed to correctly inform parents about their children's status or properly care for the wounded. Politics now. Your voice, your vote. A new survey shows former President Donald Trump holding the lead over in New Hampshire. According to a university poll NBC 10 Boston held and the Boston Globe, Trump is holding steady at 50% among likely New Hampshire Republican primary voters. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is in second place with 36%. And then there's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis with just 6%. Trump is far ahead with Republican voters, though. Haley closes ground with the support of independent voters. And check this out. These horses at Freedom Reigns Ranch in Columbia just out there frolicking in the snowfall over the past couple of days, having a good time, but they got their coats on. These photos sent in by the nonprofit, which describes itself as a faith-based youth ranch. The horses there certainly seem to be having a good time, and they may want to go ahead and take advantage of the snow because the good news is it is melting, but those chilly temperatures not going anywhere. We're talking single digits. I'm one of the folks who's like, okay, wrap this up. I'm tired of it.
I'm one of them.
I want some warm weather.
See, I'm a Midwest guy. Love snow, love cold. Get it out of here at this point. We've had it all week long. We've gone 12 out of 13 days in code red.
I was asking you about that yesterday. I just can't believe that. Ready for the 60s. We just got to make it to past the weekend.
If we can get to Monday morning, we're all going to have smiles next week.
Smiles. Big
That's
smiles.
what I'm saying. So let's just take our time, ease into today because temperatures will drop. What you have right now on the right side of your screen is not your temperature later today. We're in the upper 20s to right near 30 degrees right now. We're going to drop from the upper 20s when the sun rises here right before 7 a.m. to 20 degrees by sunset. That means that everything that came down yesterday, rain, freezing rain, and there is a little bit of light snow trying to move into southern Kentucky right now that I'll track for you here, could end up giving us some ice leading into the end of today and tomorrow morning as well. And then we continue to see cold temperatures into Sunday. Tonight, tomorrow night, both days going to have wind chill values below 0. We're doing it again. I mentioned it yesterday morning. Kind of a 4-course winter weather week we had. We had the snow Sunday into Monday, the cold Tuesday into Wednesday, freezing rain and rain yesterday, and now we have the cold leading today into tomorrow and Sunday. Here are your current feels like temperatures. These are also going to catch you off guard tomorrow. Right now, it feels like 24 in Nashville. Where do we go as we take this morning into tomorrow? Look at the wind chills. Even this afternoon, we'll go from 24 right now, noon today, we'll drop in half. Wind picks up, temperatures drop. 12 degrees, your wind chill leading into this afternoon, overnight tonight. By the time we get after midnight, we go sub-zero once again, not just tonight, but also tomorrow night. So the cold takes back over in a mere couple of hours from right now.
Steer clear traffic out there for you this morning. Let's get to it on I-24. This is very close to the Hopkinsville area out there. And as you can see, traffic is moving. We did get some reports that the snow could be falling in a place like Hopkinsville. Right now, though, we just haven't seen it on any of the cameras that we've been able to pull up so far. Maybe a couple of flakes here and there. Might as well just come all the way over. You saw part of me there. You can see a few flakes flying in the upper atmosphere, but not a downpour of snow so far here. Not heavy fall anyway. So a couple of light flurries. So heads up on that as you come in from the I-24 area. We'll continue to watch the snow in Hopkinsville. Other areas around town are proving to be just fine.
Justin, thank you. The cold weather and temperature change has caused water main breaks, and that's never a good situation. Our Fox 17 News reporter Karen Aguilar is joining us live in Hillwood Estates, where there is currently an issue at hand. Karen, what can you show us?
Good morning, Jen. Well, we were trying to show you that water main break. Unfortunately, the side streets weren't available to us because they're private residents. But what I can tell you is that we are in Hillwood Estates, nearby where that water main break happened on Summerlee Drive near Darden Place. Now, that's Metro Water Services. That's one of two places that we're seeing active water main breaks. You can take a look at your screen there. And another one is a possible active water break. Now, the sudden burst of pipes from the freezing cold and change in temperatures is one of the hundreds of pipe bursts that we've seen this week. Take a listen.
Our call center has been swamped. We have had excessively long wait times. I think the max out Monday morning was about 230 calls into our call center. So we were having a lot of issues trying to fill those calls and then figure out what was emergencies and what wasn't, and getting people on schedule. And the technicians are working extremely late.
Yeah, they're hard at work trying to prevent and treat those water main breaks and those pipes from bursting. Now, he says he's expecting more calls this weekend as the temperatures drop to the teens. Reporting live in Hillwood Estates, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Okay, Karen, thank you. That does lead us to our question that we're asking over on our Fox Nashville X account. Have you had any damage or maintenance issues at your home due to winter weather? A lot of folks sounding off for this particular question, but the good news is 79.6% of you all say no, not seeing any kind of issues. This poll is live right now, so please go ahead and cast your vote. Let us know what's happening in your area. You can scan this QR code on your screen to our X account to answer the question. We're talking sports after the break. The snow was coming down, but the Titans not stopping, and by that, it means they're still interviewing candidates for that head coach position, who they spoke with virtually yesterday. Stay with us.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
.524 is the time here on this Friday morning, and the Tennessee Titans are continuing to look for their next head coach. As of this morning, a total of 7 candidates have interviewed for the job, and a few more are to come. So let's take a review, shall we? A week ago, the team had its very first interview with the Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan. Then they also talked to the New York Giants OC Mike Kafka. On Saturday, the Titans were able to interview the Las Vegas Raiders interim head coach Antonio Pierce. They also talked to the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald. And in the last few days, they have interviewed the Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, as well as the Panthers offensive coordinator Thomas Brown, plus the Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick. Now, the Titans have requested other interviews with other coaches as well, including the Detroit Lions offensive and defensive coordinators. Let's talk a little hockey as the Nashville Predators hit the ice last night in Los Angeles and came away with a 2-1 win over the Kings. Both teams were scoreless until this gem by Roman Josi and Ryan O'Reilly there in the second period. The Kings came right back, scored another goal, but then the Predators were able to put another biscuit in the basket right there, and that would be all they need. Preds win 2-1 over the Kings. They'll take on the Arizona Coyotes coming up for an afternoon puck drop of 2 p.m. Central tomorrow.
And winter weather still taking over when it comes to your day-to-day life here. We're Code Red once again, at this time for a little bit of snow starting here, very gradually starting in southern Kentucky. That will move into the Cumberland Plateau. We had yesterday's freezing rain and rain. That will give us a light glaze of some ice as temperatures drop throughout this morning. The snow showers that we do get today, less than an inch that will come down, but we have the ice from yesterday that is accumulating when it comes to the thickening of it and that cold air moving in, and then the snow on top of it. Glaze on roads, especially secondary roadways, and many of our roads that have not been treated, we're going with ice, and snow. This is going to be one of those mornings that could be a little bit tough to begin with, but we'll get better by next week. We get worse before we get better, though. Look at the nighttime temperatures. Look at the little pinkish purple boxes. So we're waking up to temperatures that will be right around 20 degrees in the next 5 to 6 hours, dropping from where they are on the right side of your screen. Tomorrow morning, 6. Waking up on Sunday morning, 3 degrees. Overnight wind chills are going to be below 0, so we get one more blast of brutally cold air. Whatever is on the ground after the sun rises when it comes to snow and ice likely does not begin to melt until we get into late Sunday and then Monday into Tuesday. Keep that in mind for any weekend plans.
All right, steer clear traffic out there for you this morning. Let's get to the latest happening on I-40 at Church Street. That is going on over on the West Loop. Traffic is very, very good so far here this morning. Now, it's that way because most people have decided not to get on the roads so far. So that has led to less accidents, and hopefully that will be the case throughout the majority of the day as less and less people are out there. So we'll continue to watch the roads. Overall drive times, though, looking good. Mount Juliet at 28 minutes. Murfreesboro, rather, at 50 minutes. Franklin, 29 minutes there from Williamson County. Fox 17 News will continue our code red weather alert. You heard Greg talk about it a few moments ago. The single digits are upon us once again.
Ordinary.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
We're doing it again. We are on a Fox 17 Code Red weather alert for this afternoon. Temperatures dropping throughout the day. How cold will be leading into tonight and tomorrow night coming up in your forecast.
Steer clear traffic takes us to Ellington Parkway at Ben Allen Road. There's still a lot of ice and snow out there. We're going to tell you how it could impact your drive.
Thank you, though, for waking up with us here bright and early on a Friday morning for Fox 17 News. I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has the day off. Now, listen, the next 3 days are going to be a doozy. Weather-wise, we're dropping into the single digits. And I know some folks, Greg, they're watching and they're thinking, what do you mean? It's already been a rough week. Now we got another weekend of mess.
I am no one's best friend anymore. And even my best friends don't come with their best friend anymore. This has been a week for every single person in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. And we're going to do 3 more days of winter weather before really nice things begin to pop up in the forecast in your 7-day that I'm going to give you in a few moments. But this morning, we're going to see ice continue to build. We have temperatures dropping hour by hour. Every look at the temperature I see has numbers falling. That's the case throughout the entire day. We'll go from the right side of your screen upper 20s to near 30 to upper teens to near 20 by the time you're eating dinner later today. Secondary roads in areas that just have not been touched since Monday when it comes to the snow and ice have additional ice because of yesterday's rain and freezing rain. A big freeze ahead, 2 nights ahead. Tonight and tomorrow night are going to be below 0 for the wind chill. This is the last blast of our code red weather, but today, tomorrow, Sunday, all days we have to watch. Tonight, down to 6 degrees. Wind chills as cold as 10 below. Tomorrow night, for your Saturday night into Sunday morning, 3 degrees your temperature. Wind chills could be as cold as 15 below. A wind chill advisory settles in tonight, just like earlier in the week for dangerous cold.
Steer clear traffic at 5:32. Quick look outside takes us over to I-24 Waldron Road out there. Look at that. You can actually now see the shoulder of the road. Haven't seen the shoulder in a few days, but now we're starting to see some of that out there in the interstates. So problem solved, right? Where everything is good. No, we still have lots of problems out there. This is Ellington Parkway near Ben Allen Road there on the north side. So even though some lanes are clear here, some of the ramps here are still very iced over, not just there, but over on the other side as well. So please be careful getting on and off the interstates. Overpasses like Vietnam Vets and Briley will be especially slick later today.
Justin, thank you. Hey, pipes bursting from the freezing cold temperatures could unfortunately be a reality for homeowners, especially heading into this weekend's single digits. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is joining us live over at Hillwood Estates to show us what some folks are dealing with when it comes to the freezing pipes. Now, Karen, I know this morning you were sharing some tips trying to help some people out, but what are you seeing in that area?
Well, I want to start with the tips I was sharing from earlier. That's what I was trying to show you here where I'm at. I have a pipe with me and insulation. That's one of the things that you could do to prevent your pipes from bursting. Now, we do have an active water main break here in the Hillwood Estates. We don't know the circumstances surrounding why that pipe burst, but what we do know is that it happened a few blocks away near Darden Place and Summerlee Drive. This happened just today, and the Metro Water Services says that it's one of 2 active water main breaks that we're seeing this morning, along with a possible water main break. Now, I spoke with the president of Busy Bee, a plumbing, heating, and air conditioning company, that tells me that those 3 events today are not isolated. They've seen hundreds of calls responding to burst pipes. The president now tells us where we're at since the temperatures dropped. Take a listen.
The call volume has started to trickle off. A lot of what we're getting now is people that have been maybe waiting on somebody else's schedule and they haven't gotten there or didn't show up. So they're calling to try to get somebody out.
Yeah, William says that he expects more calls this weekend as the temperatures drop to the teens. Coming up, he'll give you more tips on what you can do to prevent your pipes from bursting. Reporting live in Hillwood Estates, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. Emergency crews working to recover the body of a lost hiker from a 700-foot bluff over at Fall Creek Falls in sub-zero temperatures. This happened Tuesday night. The Van Buren County Sheriff confirming the victim was a 46-year-old Van Buren man. The extremely cold temperatures and deep snow, it really did hamper the rescue efforts there. The fire department says one rescuer was treated at a local hospital for mild hypothermia, but is expected to be released pretty soon. We are continuing our Fox 17 News Code Red weather alert, and we're talking down to 6 degrees in some parts of Middle Tennessee tonight, with wind chill as low as 10 below. This is nothing to play about. What you need to know when it comes to your full forecast and when the warm up is going to be expected. Stay with us.
The Fox 17 Code Red.
Good morning. We are here on a Friday at 5:38 in the morning. We're still talking about Code Red weather. We've done that all week this week for the snow, the cold, freezing rain yesterday, cold again today into tomorrow that could prompt more ice. Now, right now, a lot of our roadways have been treated. We're trying to get through what happened on Monday, 4 days later, but whatever is out there is going to end up being a little more on the icy side by tomorrow morning. We have cold air filtering in from the north and the west, and that's going to prompt a wind chill warning tonight into tomorrow for wind chills that will easily be 10 to 15 degrees below zero. We have a little bit of snow attempting to make it to the ground in areas like Hopkinsville and Bowling Green in southern Kentucky. We'll keep our eyes on that as we go throughout the rest of this morning. Just know that most of us don't see any additional precipitation. It is what came down yesterday and how it will freeze throughout the day. Right side of your screen. We do it every day. Every morning, even during commercial breaks, we keep all of your current temperatures up there. And those right now are going to drop throughout the entire day. Typically, you start at one place, you go up, you go up, you go up, and then the sun sets. Today, we're here, we're going to go down, go down, go down throughout the day. By the time you're eating dinner, our upper 20s will be in the upper teens. So throughout the day, non-traveled roadways or non-plowed roadways will get icier hour by hour.
Clear traffic for you this morning. Let's get to I-40 at 46th Avenue, west side of town. As you can see, traffic is doing nice over there on that side. Traffic really has done well on the interstates. The interstate has not been the problem as of the last 24 to 36 hours. It has been the side streets, secondary streets, the neighborhood streets. That has where the problems have been. Anywhere where heavy traffic has not gone over and over again, roads that have not been touched, that has been where the problems are. But right now, drive time's looking very smooth no matter where you're coming from this morning. Everybody's still in the yellow because there's still spots of ice out there that you may not be able to see.
Justin, thank you. In Operation Crime and Justice, Metro Police say a teenager was arrested Wednesday, and he's now accused of theft and a whole lot of other charges. So we're going to get to the details here. Detectives finding this teenager, 19-year-old Nicholas Dalton, who reportedly was driving a stolen Dodge. Well, police say Dalton had key fobs and tools that would help him steal other cars. He is now being charged with theft, driving on a suspended license, and other charges. This story over on Fox17.com.
Some of you may be wondering, when will my neighborhood get cleared up? Well, we're going to tell you coming up what NDOT has planned for neighborhood streets.
Tens of millions of Americans waking up to weather alerts this morning as a new storm moving out west, bringing ice and freezing temperatures. In Cleveland, I'm Nick Koser with that story.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
Welcome back. 5:44 is the time, and crews with Nashville's Department of Transportation working long 12-hour shifts trying to clear out the roads. Now, early on, they were asking drivers just to stay off the road, but we know this, folks got to get back to business, back to work. Right now, Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse joining us live in the 12 South area. That's the spot that is very heavily traveled. Peyton, earlier there was a stalled out vehicle right behind you. Was that driver finally able to get out?
Well, I will say that the driver is okay. His car is still stuck. It's literally leaning up against the fence. We're not going to show the car out of respect for the gentleman. He obviously is a little bit shooken up after what just happened, but his car literally was sliding down a hill here at the end of Eastwood Avenue in the 12 South neighborhood, and he's currently waiting for a tow truck, and it just goes to show how dangerous these conditions are right now. Excuse me. So NDOT tells us that primary roads were looking good. That's like Briley Parkway and Harding Place. The city is working to wrap up secondary roads, which has to get cleared before crews start working on neighborhood roads.
We need to be very careful because this rain has made a lot of those very treacherous. They're very slick. What traction you had, the rain kind of has melted away and basically going to create some ice. And that's what we're concerned about.
NDOT says depending on how the roads look later today, that will determine the areas that they need to focus on next. And NDOT tells us that they've had about 500 calls for neighborhood streets, and they're suggesting anybody who has road conditions just like this one here to submit a claim through Hub Nashville. Reporting in 12 South, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your code station.
All right, Peyton, thank you for that perspective. 5:46 is the time, and you know what? The current temperatures, Greg, are deceiving because it's going to get a whole lot chillier. Right now, we're sitting at what? Let's see.
30 in Nashville, but most of our surrounding areas are in the upper 20s and already falling.
Okay.
And the reason you say deceiving, you're right, because you think whatever you wake up to, typically on a regular day, you get warmer and warmer and warmer throughout the afternoon. You think, okay, if I'm at 30 right now, that means maybe at worst case scenario, 35, 36, maybe 40 later this afternoon. Not the case. Shave 10 degrees off of every temperature you see on the map right now. That's where you will be about 12 hours from right now. We're talking upper teens to right around 20 degrees by the time we're eating dinner, and then we continue to fall throughout the night. So right now, we had the rain and freezing rain yesterday, and a few areas are not iced over just yet, but the areas that are lesser traveled, secondary roads, neighborhood streets, are going to see things quickly cool down from that 30-degree mark to 20 degrees in Nashville in about 12 hours. That's how we work. So today's highlights are actually kind of lowlights. Temperatures going down and down. The average high, 49, not even close to it. Watch out for patches of ice here on those roadways that are not the very well-traveled roads we've had the last couple of days. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, I got to give you something good here on a Friday to look forward to. So look at the right side of your screen. 51 degrees on Tuesday, 59 on Wednesday, 64 degrees, 64 on Thursday. That's after two very cold nights, though, tonight and tomorrow night. Dangerously cold again, below zero for wind chills, actual air temperatures in the single digits. When we're done with the weekend, we're done with this winter blast for at least a week, if not 2 weeks worth of time to recover and just get back to more comfortable conditions outside.
Clear traffic this morning takes us to I-65 Trinity Lane there on the north side. Traffic is moving up there. The interstate's really looking nicely out there as we're seeing the dry conditions for the most part out there. Some ice and snow here and there, but it's mainly over on the shoulder at this point, no longer sitting in the middle of the roads. Here's a look towards the airport, I-40 at Donaldson Pike. Plenty of snow on the grass. Not on the interstate, which is where it needs to be. No major crashes or interstate shutdowns so far this morning. Things could pick up as more and more people start to get on the roads.
Justin, thank you. Well, we know this. The brutal winter weather showing no signs of slowing down this weekend, with more than half of the country now just blanketed in snow. Fox weather meteorologist Nick Kosar has much more from Cleveland. Take a listen.
Walked around a little bit during lunch and people were slipping all over the place.
Another wild winter storm is on the move this week, now headed west, as bitter cold temperatures from coast to coast leave more than 60 million people under winter weather alerts.
Don't go out if you don't need to. It's honestly, truly not worth it.
Freezing rain and wind pelting the Pacific Northwest and knocking out power to more than 85,000 homes and businesses in Oregon. Streets turned into ice skating rinks, along with downed trees and snapped power lines, creating dangerous travel conditions. The roads sending drivers sliding, with a 50-mile stretch from Portland to the Cascades closed. Authorities are warning it's best to stay indoors, with more and more injuries reported in ERs just from slipping on ice.
Actually lost count. Since Sunday, we've had lots of sledding accidents, lots of falling on the ice, broken bones, broken shoulders, clavicles, head injuries, lacerations on the face, lots of bumps and bruises.
Those brutal conditions already linked to more than 30 deaths nationwide, as the South also sees some rare snow and a deep freeze sets in up north. In places like Buffalo, they're expecting even more snow on top of the 3+ feet already covering the ground. The Arctic weather wreaking havoc on weather lines and pipes along the East Coast.
With water sitting in the line, once that cold water freezes, it expands, breaks the pipe.
But there is relief in sight, as more moderate temperatures are expected next week. In Cleveland, I'm Nick Koser, Fox Weather.
Okay, Nick, thank you so much. Politics now. Hunter Biden has officially agreed to testify before House Republicans behind closed doors on February 28th. The House Oversight Committee says his deposition will come after several interviews with the Biden family members and also associates. This does come after months of defiance from the president's son, who insisted on testifying publicly instead. Republicans arguing, though, the younger Biden should not get any kind of special treatment. They were set to advance a contempt resolution against Biden, but called it off earlier this week, all in hopes of reaching an agreement. The Bidens, by the way, deny any kind of wrongdoing. A chilly game led to a slew of photos that went viral, which then led to a viral cake. Yes, a cake. The story behind a Kansas bakery's newest creation, sweet creation, after the break. And of course, that Fox 17 News Code Red Alert is continuing. Not for the temperatures right now. Those temperatures are deceiving. Those temperatures in the 30s. But tonight, we're talking single digits, and it's going to last throughout the weekend.
Let me help you with that. I'm good.
Good morning here on a Friday, closing in on 6 o'clock this morning, just a few minutes shy of it, and taking a look right now at Doppler radar, Hopkinsville out through Portland, moving toward Gallatin. In Clarksville right now, Bowling Green, we're seeing some blues popping up on the radar. We have some snow. This is the last push of winter weather coming from the sky that we're going to see for the rest of this weekend. So today into tomorrow and Sunday, this is it. This will push down toward the Cumberland Plateau over the course of the next 2 to 3 hours, and then we're done. After it, colder air moves in. Right now, right side of your screen, we're at 30 in Nashville. Most of us are in the upper 20s, and temperatures have been falling hour by hour since midnight, and that will continue. We're going to see our temperatures drop as far down to 20 degrees by about 5 o'clock later on this afternoon. Here's what we're tracking, though. Let's zoom in here on the radar to the areas that have not quite gotten into the snow just yet. Greenbrier, you got into it just now, but taking a look at places like Joelton and Hendersonville, this is moving down toward the south and east, even Mount Juliet. 15 to 30 minutes. This is not going to be heavy snow by any means. Less than an inch of snow coming down overnight into this upcoming morning hour as we get towards sunrise, but this will be on top of the freezing rain and rain we had yesterday and could give us some super cooled air very quickly, icing things over. We'll keep our eyes on this. Just know that overnight tonight and tomorrow night, wind chill values go back below zero.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's take you to Clarksville. Yeah, the snow is falling out there in Clarksville. We're seeing those flakes, no mistaking about it. They're big ones flying across the camera lens there. That's on Wilbur Rudolph Boulevard there in Clarksville. So heads up as you drive across that area. You could see some of that snow not sticking to the pavement as of yet, but certainly over to the grass and places like that. So heads up for some flurries there in Clarksville. And I'm sure it's making its way over towards I-24 as well in that area. Other than that, we're doing fine. This is 24 as well, but this one's at Shelby in the heart of downtown Nashville there next to Nissan Stadium. Again, a lot of snow and the ice on the shoulder, but the interstate itself seems to be clear.
Okay, take a look at this. Some old-fashioned horsepower. literally helping pull an SUV out of a ditch. This is over in Lawrence County. After multiple attempts to pull this white SUV out of the ditch, an Amish man riding by pulled aside to help with a pair of his horses, getting it done. A group of men then pushing the vehicle from the front while the two horses, you can see it here, tried to drag the car out from behind. They got it handled. Together, the horse and man, they worked to get that vehicle back on solid ground. Sometimes it just takes some good old-fashioned horsepower. Hey, if you're looking for a taco, yes, a taco. You shouldn't have to look too far. A recent Pew Research Center study found 1 in 10 restaurants now serve Mexican food. It's just really popular. Across the country, 85% of counties have at least one Mexican restaurant. No surprise. California and Texas, they have the most Mexican restaurants. That Pew study says that it's reflecting the growing Mexican-American population, which does account now for 11% of the total U.S. population. And now I'm hungry. Well, fans of the Kansas City Chiefs are not just talking about the team's Super Bowl aspirations. No, they're also infatuated with head coach Andy Reid's frozen mustache. What? Saturday's Chiefs game was the coldest game, the coldest game in Arrowhead Stadium history. So cold that Reid's mustache froze up like an icicle. Now a Kansas bakery, though, is memorializing the iconic look. You're looking at cake. I know why, though. Well, they're now featuring the coach's frozen mustache. McLean's Bakery and Market in Waldo says response about the cake, as you can imagine, it's been overwhelming. It's kind of cute. I like that. Talking about food here, we do have an important warning for folks who enjoy deli meats. The FDA says some charcuterie meats could contain salmonella, so very serious. The charcuterie sampler from Bussetto brand with 3 types of meats that sold over at Sam's Club, and the Fratelli Beretta brand regular twin packs sold through Costco should not be eaten. Instead, the FDA says go ahead and toss out those items. If you'd like to read more about this important update from the FDA, go to fox17.com. And of course, we're still talking about the winter weather and the world's newest outdoor roller skating track opening over in Florida's Panhandle. Weber Skate World hosting an international competition on that new track where it looks very warm. So they're getting the opposite over there. More than 300 world champions, you can see them, and international competitors from around the world competing. It looks really, really cool out there. No one fall, though. That could be a serious issue. Trending over on fox17news.com, we always like to see what's happening over there to get you in the know. Well, we want to show you how you can share your photos and videos. That's right now while you're looking at the Chime In tab. Step 1, you just click right there. You upload your photos, your videos. You go ahead and select an option when it comes to your topic. You tell us a couple of short words about who we're looking at. Maybe it's your dog. Maybe it's your kids out there. Maybe it's just yourself. Then you just hit the next button right there, and then you easily have the photos shared to our website. And then you never know, your photos could end up right here on Fox 17 News this morning. Hey, stay with us though. Our 6 o'clock hour is starting right now.
You're watching Fox 17 News this morning, your Code Red station.
Yesterday's rain and freezing rain leads to today's plummeting temperatures throughout today and a wind chill advisory tonight. We are not done with winter weather when more ice is expected to end up clinging to the ground here throughout today, coming up in your forecast.
There's a couple of active water main breaks happening right now. In a few minutes, I'll have the details on that, plus tips you can take to prevent your pipes from bursting.
Steer clear traffic takes us to I-40 at Fessler's Lane. Traffic okay for now, but the snow is still falling in certain locations. I'll show you where.
6 o'clock is the time. Do want to start by thanking you for waking up with us here on Fox 17 News this Friday morning. I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has the morning off. The code red lights, you can see them behind me. They're still on. We are in a code red weather alert. This time, though, no snow. It's the chilly temperatures, that wind chill, Greg.
We've been bouncing around everywhere the entire week when it comes to code red. Snow, cold, freezing rain, cold. That's what we're back into right now. We're watching areas, though, Clarksville out through Portland. Now Gallatin, you're getting into the snow as we speak. Tompkinsville, Hendersonville, you're up very soon for some snow. This is not going to be a big snowmaker. Don't think back to Sunday night into Monday where we had 6 to 8 inches of snow that came down. This might give you a dusting to potentially an inch of snowfall that comes down between now and 9 a.m. This band is going to move down to the right side of your screen. So just giving you a generalization of where this is going here. This is going to move in this direction toward the Cumberland Plateau. So think Cookeville, Monterey, Crossville, even McMinnville might get clipped with this here, and a flake or two could be flying in Nashville. That's not going to stick for the metro area. As far as the forecast goes moving forward, we have the wind chill, the feels like temperature at 22 degrees right now. That is not where it's going to stay, not even close. By the time we get to lunchtime, your wind chill going to drop considerably. Here is the future feels like temperature going into noon. Look at the numbers drop down to 12. For the wind chill. The feels like temperature going to be 12 degrees colder than it is right now leading into the afternoon, and by dinner time we'll be at right around the single digits. Overnight tonight, wind chills drop significantly, 5 to 10 degrees below zero. Will easily be our wind chills tonight and also tomorrow, so wind chill advisory in effect once again tonight and also tomorrow night.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's get a good look at what we're dealing with out here in the Clarksville area. The flakes are still flying out here along Wilma Rudolph in the Clarksville area. So keep that in mind as you get out there this morning. If you're driving around, do not be surprised to see them. Yes, we know they're out there, and it's not just there. In places like Hopkinsville, Oak Grove, and other parts of southern Kentucky, the flakes are flying out there this morning. Not gathering on the street, not causing big problems, just something that persists. All right, here's I-40 at Fessler's. We're doing really nicely there on the interstate drive. At least I think we are. Is TDOT moving to something new that we don't know about yet? Or are they just trying to tell us about the billboard? I'm not sure. Okay, we're going back. All right, no problem. We continue to be okay. We'll continue to watch things out there on the road. Traffic unpredictable.
Always unpredictable. Justin, thank you. Well, heading into this weekend's Code Red weather alert, pipes bursting could be, unfortunately, a costly reality. Our Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joining us live in the Hillwood Estates area. Karen, this is where a water main break was reported. So what's the latest? Are you seeing anything at the moment?
I'm not seeing any at the moment because we weren't allowed in front of that home where that active water main break happened because it's a private residence. But first, I want to show you the contrast of what homeowners woke up to this morning. Some of them are just dealing with driving through these icy roads heading to work. But for one family, it's a different story. The Metro Water Services says that just a couple blocks away, an active water main break is happening right now for one family. So you can imagine waking up in the early morning hours to that. Now, the Metro Water Services also tells me that there's one more water main break in Nashville, and that's happening in the Glencliff area, along with one possible water main break. Now, that is one of hundreds of water main breaks that we've had this week alone. One of the things that you can do to prevent that, I've been saying that all morning, is put insulation on your pipes. The president of Busy Bee, a plumbing, heating, and air conditioning company, tells us a little bit more tips. Take a listen.
Making sure that you are opening up your cabinets, putting your water on drip, like a steady stream.
You can also check your thermostat. That's a list of the tips that I'll be giving you. Unfortunately, I can't show you anything else at this moment, but we will be keeping you updated on what happens with those active water main breaks. Reporting live in the Hillwood Estates, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Okay, Karen, thank you for sharing those tips. And we do want to ask this question. It's on your screen right now. Have you had any damage or maintenance issues at your home due to our winter weather this week? It's a question over on our Fox Nashville X page. As of right now, 79.7% of you all say no, and that's good news. You have time to still go ahead and cast your vote, again, by going to our Fox Nashville X account. We do have breaking news, though, regarding the winter weather. The Tennessee Emergency Management Agency now saying 17 people have died as a result of what's happened all week long. TEMA says the additional 3 deaths happened over in Marshall and Rowan counties. If you'd like to read more information from them, go to fox17.com. A man formerly charged in the killing of 2 women at a Nashville tanning salon nearly 30 years ago is facing attempted rape and unlawful imprisonment, along with sexual motivation charges happening in Washington state. That's where these charges are. Back in 1996, Streeter was accused of stabbing Tiffany Campbell and Melissa Chilton at a Church Street tanning salon. A bizarre story. His photo right there on the screen. Streeter was indicted in 2013 and was in a California prison before serving, a time for robbery. He returned then to Tennessee in 2015, but because of DNA forensic evidence testing, the murder charges were dropped against him. Streeter is currently being held in the King County Jail on a $250,000 bond. If you would like to read more about this story, for more in-depth reporting from our Fox 17 News reporter Kelly Avellino, you can do so. Go to fox17.com. We have all the information and the latest updates right there. A scathing report from the Justice Department takes apart the police response to the Uvalde school shooting over in Texas. How they say law enforcement failed families.
Fox 17 News Code.
We have made it to Friday, 6:09 your time right now, and taking a look at our Code Red weather alert. It's been all week, all for different reasons each and every day. This time around, it's the freezing rain and rain we had yesterday that will begin to become ice in the coming hours. Right side of your screen, current temperatures have dropped below 32 degrees, so everything that came down that has not been driven over and is not continuously driven over will be a sheet of ice by the end of today. Snow showers, less than an inch, but we have a little bit of light snow coming down in Clarksville, Hopkinsville, Gallatin, Bowling Green, Tompkinsville. All those areas right now we're seeing not very heavy snow, but snow showers that have developed in the last hour. A little glaze on the roadways, especially the ones that have not been treated yet or plowed since Monday. Those are going to be the culprits here, where we're going to have the roughest time getting around for the rest of today. Next 3 days, the pinkish purple bar shows you the morning temperature you're waking up to right around sunrise. So as the sun comes up in the next hour, our temperatures begin to curtail very quickly. Then we get to 6 degrees overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, 3 degrees tomorrow night for your Saturday into Sunday morning. Wind chill values will easily be below zero. Limit the time outdoors again. This morning, yesterday morning, weren't as bad as they were earlier in the week, but we're going to get right back to it, where hypothermia, frostbite, the things we talked about Tuesday into Wednesday become very prevalent again tonight and tomorrow night into the subsequent mornings. Taking a look here, cover exposed skin. If you have to go outside, that's your best bet here. There is warmer air going into next week, but this weekend itself is going to be bitterly cold and give us the end of our winter weather, for now at least, for the coming weeks.
Steer clear traffic takes us here to Highway 76. This is in Clarksville this morning, and that is where we are dealing with falling snow out there. The snow is coming down in Clarksville this morning out there, so please be advised of that as you get out and about. Don't let it scare you. It's not sticking to the pavement, but it is causing a bit of a nuisance as you're out there this morning. Back here in Metro Nashville, we just picked up a crash that we're not going to be able to show you right this second, but I can tell you about it. It's over on I-40, very close to Briley Parkway there, between Briley and Spence Lane. Crews have not gotten to the scene yet. I just got a peek of it on the camera. We're going to bring it to you coming up here in the next couple of minutes.
We're also busy following your national headlines because the Justice Department report released yesterday criticized the police response to the Uvalde, Texas school shooting. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland recounted the 77 minutes that officers failed to enter the classroom where students and teachers were trapped with an active shooter. The report said many officers did not know who was in charge, what they should do, or whether the active shooter was dead or alive. Officers also reportedly failed to correctly inform parents about their children's status or properly care for the wounded. Back here in Middle Tennessee, the freezing temperatures are continuing. The safety tips you need to keep in mind while shoveling snow, and we're going to check in with the NES power outages. We're seeing an update this morning. Stay with us. .6:14 is the time here on Fox 17 News this morning. We do want to take a moment to check out the Nashville Electric Service, their power outage map that's on your screen right now. It was updated about 52 minutes ago, and you can see a big number on your screen, about 1,300 customers that are dealing with an outage. It's in the Nolensville area. If we zoom into the map, we get a better perspective of where this is happening. But again, you're seeing that update about 52 minutes ago, 1,300 customers dealing with outages. We're going to check in too with our Code Red meteorologist to find out how long the freezing rain could continue, if maybe some areas are still seeing that. I don't think that's the case, but that's a big issue right now for folks who are going to be dealing with those temperatures that are continuing to dip throughout the day. So just stay with us for more updates on that. In Nashville, Department of Transportation, we know they're working 12-hour shifts to clear those roads out. And early on, they were asking drivers, hey, if you don't have to be anywhere, stay off the road. But now, folks, they got to get back to business. They're trying to get back to work, open up their business. Right now, Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse joining us live in the 12 South area, which is typically on a weekend time, I should say, very busy. So, Peyton, what are you seeing? Are you seeing any issues out there on those roads?
We have, Erica. Some people have gotten stuck. And also, I want to mention, I have slipped on this roadway on Eastwood Avenue a few times. We're going to just show you guys just how slippery it is. It's important for people to be very careful if they are walking along this roadway. And NDOT says that they are right now prioritizing primary roads, which seem to look good. Secondary roadways is something that they're focusing on as well. And that's like Briley, or the primary roadways are like Briley Parkway and Harding Place, and the city is working to wrap up those secondary roads, which have to get cleared before crews start working on neighborhoods like the one that you all just saw me standing on. Philip Jones is the assistant director for NDOT, and Jones hopes things will clear out by Monday.
I've been communicating to everyone that it's first come, first serve. Some people were calling in their street Saturday when it was beautiful outside just to get on the list. So we have, we definitely will start on that list as soon as we get our secondaries cleared.
Now, NDOT says depending on how the roads look later today, that will determine what areas they need to focus on next. And if the roads are not looking good, even the primary roads and the secondary roads, they're going to have to start back up to square one and hold off on the neighborhood roadways. And if your neighborhood is looking rough, NDOT is suggesting people to submit a claim through Hub Nashville. Reporting live in 12 South, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Peyton, thank you. I do want to say when it comes to the power outages, we reached out to NES working to get answers. They say they're looking into the cause, so we're still trying to figure out what the issue is. Are there any areas that are still seeing that freezing rain which could lead to power outages possibly?
Freezing rain, no, but here's the catch to that. We had the rain and freezing rain yesterday, and our temperatures stayed just above freezing until about an hour ago. So we've got wet power lines, we have wet power poles that are now beginning to freeze, and that adds extra weight to them as it freezes. So that could be one of the issues why these are popping up as our temperatures have now gone below the freezing point across Middle Tennessee. Taking a look here where the snow is at. Slow mover here. This has not moved all that much in the last hour, but Portland through Gallatin seeing a decent little band of some more moderate snowfall. You're going to get less than an inch out of this. This is not anything to write home about. In all the areas that have already been treated, especially the primary roads, it's not going to stick. But out toward Clarksville and Hopkinsville, lighter snow is the bluer colors here. This is kind of already winding down in those areas. This will pull toward the Cumberland Plateau in the next hour or two. We're going to put a track on it for you momentarily just so you know what's coming your way. But this is the last push of anything coming from the sky that we have to worry about when it comes to winter weather for the next 2 weeks. However, when we're done, our temperatures continue to fall. We're talking wind chill advisories and dangerous cold again, starting tonight into tomorrow night as well.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's get to I-40 at Spence Lane. That is where we are dealing with that crash that we were just looking at a few moments ago. Couldn't get to it at the time, but boy, have crews responded to it in a big way. We understand it's a single car crash that has come off the road here right around I-40 near Spence Lane, very close to Briley Parkway. Lots of crews on the scene, at least 2 lanes shut down right now. You can get by it. The interstate is still open, but it is causing a significant slowdown. You can use Elm Hill Pike is the best way to steer clear. Very quickly before we go away for this hit, wanted to show you there's still light snow falling in Clarksville. This is Highway 76 there in Clarksville. Watch out for a few snowflakes out there.
Well, it is snow time for much of the country, and it means now is a good a time as ever to brush up on some of those safety tips before grabbing a shovel. Fox's Shayna Ferreira has some tips on how to keep your snow day injury-free.
So the snow haters have been really rejoicing the last couple of years because of the minimal snow we've had. But now the snow lovers are getting their hit back with the snow that's on the way. And with that, of course, comes shoveling. And we want to make sure you get it right so you don't hurt yourself. We're in the thick of winter, and really it's important to make sure if you have to shovel, you do it correctly, because if you don't, you could really end up hurt. You're going to want to make sure your feet are about hip length apart. That's the start of proper form when you're about to shovel a lot of snow. So now that you see that my feet are hip length apart, now it's time to shovel, but you got to make sure you have the form. You don't just want to bend over, you got to bend the knees. So when I'm looking at my snow, my feet are hip length apart, my knees are bent, and I go right in. When you're shoveling, you don't want to take too much, because if you take too much, you could throw your back out still. What you want to do is just take a small portion at a time, maybe about fill it halfway before you throw it out. So these are the important tips to making sure you stay safe while you're shoveling. We heard from a medical expert on some other things you need to keep in mind.
There are actually substantial risks, and some of them that people don't anticipate, associated both with cold exposure, but also with weather events like heavy snow.
Dr. Richard Mender with the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine says there are things to keep in mind, like the obvious.
Hypothermia, just having a body core temperature that's too low, is a risk.
Not to mention what happens when you opt out of wearing gloves.
Frostbite, just your earlobes, fingers, toes, noses, with prolonged exposure is a risk as well.
But also for folks that are a little older with underlying cardiac conditions.
People are, in fact, at higher risk for heart events like a heart attack, and that happens for a couple of reasons. One, when you're exposed to the cold, your blood vessels kind of shut down a little bit. They're trying to hold on to the heat, so they tend to constrict, and that may affect blood flow to all your organs, including your heart. And we see people in the ER every year who really should not be shoveling snow anymore.
All right, so it's really all about using some common sense, listening to your body, taking those much needed breaks, staying hydrated. And one of the best rules of advice from the doctor that we heard from right there is just give yourself plenty of time. If you don't feel good, just get back in the house. And then if you want some more advice, go to fox17.com. We're sharing all of that. Hey, Fox 17 News, continuing our code red weather alert. Chilly temps. We know this could lead to water main breaks, but also want to share that we reached out to Metro Water Services this morning, and they're letting us know they're not seeing serious issues as of right now. It's relatively small what they are seeing. We're talking wind chill safety tips with our Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus, though, in just a couple of minutes. Happy Friday.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
Good morning and happy Friday to you. 6:24 is the time here on Fox 17 News, and we're taking a live look over at First Horizon Park. The snow is still on the ball field. This area, we typically see it, nice and warm with the baseball players out there. Not the case this Friday morning, which is why we're talking about your weekend forecast. We want to let you know that the next 2 nights, we're going to be dealing with temperatures between 5 and 10 below zero. Ooh, that just sounds so cold. So we are sharing right here on your screen some wind chill safety tips because folks want to get outside this weekend, and here is how you can do so safely. Now, Greg says it's a really good idea to limit your time outdoors, do it in maybe 20 to 30 minute increments, and then get back inside to warm up. And then hypothermia and a frostbite, that can occur in just a couple of minutes. Keep that in mind for kids who are still out today. They want to go outside and enjoy, but do take all the safety precautions. And then, of course, cover those exposed skin areas. If you must go outside, you do want to enjoy that time, just do so the best way possible. Right now, though, we're going to check in with our Fox 17 News traffic anchor, Justin McFarland, because, well, it's looking slick in some spots.
Yeah, it can be, depending on where you're going out there this morning. We were just dealing with a crash out there on I-40 near Spence Lane and Briley Parkway. And thankfully, it looks like crews have gotten out there and taken care of that crash very quickly. That looked like a very large scene that was going to be with us for quite some time. And all of a sudden, it is gone. So you're good to go out there on I-40 near Spence Lanes. You make that drive in from the east side this morning. Hermitage, Mount Juliet, Donaldson. Good morning to everybody out there. All right, let's take another look at something else we've been following, and that is the snowfall that continues to come down in places like Clarksville. This is Highway 76, not causing big issues. You can see Clarksville police out there. They're driving around. The roads are clear, but that snow is still falling, so don't be caught off guard. It is not piling up, but something that could be a nuisance for your drive.
We're busy tracking other headlines this morning, including how President Biden is expected to sign a short-term funding bill today to keep the government open. The House and Senate passing the bill just last night before federal funding is set to expire. So this is a big story. The bill will fund the government at least through the early March time. The temporary measure extends current spending levels and buys more time for both chambers to go ahead and hash out their differences, hopefully, for a full year spending resolution. So we'll certainly be following that story. After the break, an unlikely pairing. Yeah, the story behind how Tennessee inmates are helping shelter dogs receive the help they desperately need during those freezing temperatures. Stay with us, and happy Friday, of course.
When your door is always open.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Good morning. Freezing rain, sleet, and snow out of the forecast, but the winter woes not done just yet. 11 of the last 12 days, we have been in a code red weather alert. We're going to share now what's in store for this weekend.
Wondering when your road like this one in the 12 South area will get treated? We'll tell you NDOT's plans coming up next.
Steer clear traffic out there. We're following I-40 at Briley Parkway. Still dealing with that crash out there that's got police very involved. I'll explain.
All right, a busy start. Do want to thank you, though, for waking up with us here bright and early. 6:30 is the time on Fox 17 News This Morning. I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has the morning off. We are continuing our code red weather alert. Greg, I'm curious. Some of those streets have kind of glossed over. Are we going to see any kind of relief to get that warm up in place?
Unfortunately, no. The warmest we're going to be until we get to Sunday late in the afternoon is happening right now. Our temperatures are actually dropping. Taking a look, yes, the freezing rain gone, the rain gone, but temperatures falling. So the areas like we're going to see Peyton in just a few moments that have not been treated, or the roads that have not been cleared out, are going to have additional ice forming in the coming hours. This is the last little push, though, of winter precipitation. Do not worry about any real accumulation from this, but Ashland City, Kingston Springs, and Dickson, very light snowflakes will be coming down here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And taking a look, a little more moderate snowfall if you get Portland out toward Olinda, and then Springfield and Greenbrier, moving toward the Hendersonville area and Gallatin as we speak. And then we'll continue to track toward Old Hickory, Mount Juliet, and Lebanon in the next 15 minutes. This is all moving toward the Cumberland Plateau. Again, minimal, if any, accumulation, especially on the interstates, but the areas that have not been treated or plowed out just yet could see just a little bit of that on top of the ice that is forming. After that, cold settles in. We get clear overnight. We drop into the single digits. Those single digits, not just tonight, but also tomorrow night. Wind chill advisory in effect. Back below zero for how we feel. The really big story today is going to be how much we freeze over during the day on the lesser traveled roadways, and then the very cold into the next 2 nights.
Steer clear traffic out there for you this morning. Let's get to I-40 at Briley Parkway. That's where we are dealing with a crash there on the shoulder of the road. Yes, you can still get by. Yes, the road is open, but there are some slick spots that are going to be out there. This is right between the Briley Parkway exit and Spence Lane as you make that drive in from the airport into downtown. That's where you're going to run across this. If you like to steer clear, you can use Elm Hill Pike or Lebanon Pike, but in all honesty, there's really no need for all of that. Traffic relatively light right beside it. Other than that, we've been watching the snow continue to fall. This is Highway 76 in Clarksville. Big flakes falling, and not just here. Oak Grove, Kentucky, Hopkinsville, also seeing some of those flakes are flying, and they will continue to push its way here, as Greg was just telling you about.
Justin, thank you. And talking about traffic, Nashville's Department of Transportation is working to clear the roads as best as they can after the winter storm that has just been impacting us all week long here across Middle Tennessee. Our very own Fox 17 News reporter Peyton Muse joining us live in the 12 South area, because the spot right behind you, Peyton, we can see it. It looks to be glazed over.
Erica, it's extremely dangerous over here. I literally have slipped a few times, and I'm trying not to move as much because I don't want to fall, but we're on Eastwood Avenue in the 12 South area, and yes, this road is completely iced over, and just like our meteorologist Greg Bobos was talking about earlier in the show, when there's ice and then there's a layer of snow and then there's another layer of ice, that's when things can get really tricky. And I'm sure you could see my feet slipping and sliding all over the place here. Now, NDOT tells us before they start working on back roads or neighborhood streets just like this one, they need to clear out the primary roads, which they say that they've come a long way in terms of clearing out those primary roads. But then once they clear out the primary roads, they start to work on secondary roads. But with the weather that we had last night and as temperatures continue to drop, they may have to shift things. Priorities change as the weather changes. So the city is working to wrap up those secondary roads right now. And we're going to hear from Philip Jones, who's NDOT's assistant director.
We need to be very careful because this rain has made a lot of those very treacherous. They're very slick. What traction you had, the rain kind of has melted away and basically going to create some ice. And that's what we're concerned about.
Yeah, you heard it right there from NDOT's assistant director. That's one of their concerns is the ice. And before they could start working on the neighborhood roadways, they have to clear out situations that we're seeing on the primary and secondary roads. And they've received more than 500 calls so far for neighborhood streets to get plowed. But until they figure out where we're kind of at and where the priorities lie, once we see where the temperatures are at later today, there's really not much that they can do at this time. But for those who are experiencing roadways like this one, if this is in your backyard, NDOT is suggesting you to submit a claim through Hub Nashville. Reporting live in 12 South, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Certainly slippery out there. Peyton, be careful. And we do have continuing coverage of the winter weather that's going on as the Moore County Sheriff's Department has paired county jail inmates with dogs from a local animal shelter who need a warm place to stay. We're showing you some video and photos here. The department partnering with the Friends of Animals in Lynchburg this week. The center has outdoor kennels, which do not offer much protection, as you can imagine, in the frigid temperatures. Sheriff Tyler Hatfield telling Fox 17 News their trusty inmates are being allowed to care for these dogs.
When I came in this morning, they were taking each dog out basically on a walk to get them some kind of exercise, let them do their business early in the morning. They were feeding, and since I have been here, I've seen 2 or 3 walk by my office doors to go on short walks in and around just to make sure that we don't have any accidents.
It's an unlikely pair that is certainly making a big difference. Sheriff Hatfield says the pairing teaches the inmates compassion and caring for others. It is right now just for this week, but the sheriff does say it could become a regular thing. After the break here on Fox 17 News this morning during our 7 o'clock hour, a government watchdog group called OpenTheBooks.com, they're talking about what's being done to prevent human trafficking right here in Middle Tennessee. So we're asking them some tough questions.
Time right now is closing in on 6:40 here. We made it to Friday, but we're not done with the winter weather just yet. At least the weekend's ahead of us, but we're talking about some ice here. We had the rain yesterday on the non-treated roadways, the areas that just had not been plowed yet. We've got a sheet of ice on top of what was already there. Please, please, please be careful this morning. Main roadways and the interstates don't look all that bad just yet. A little bit of light snow falling in southern Kentucky and right along the state line that we'll keep our eyes on, but as of right now, no accumulations, but you may see a few flakes flying. Winter weather advisory in effect until 9 a.m. That's not because of totals. Winter weather advisories, you might think, oh no, how much am I going to get? How much snow, this and that? Advisories are about the impact to you trying to get out the door and moving. When there's a winter weather advisory, it means that it's going to be a slow go of it. And that's how it has been because of what the current weather conditions are. Here's that snow moving through Kentucky right now. And this will bring in colder air. We're not getting out of the winter weather mode until Monday. Tonight, tomorrow night. Temperature's going to be in the single digits. Wind chills will fall below 0. So snow and ice still a big impact here until 9 a.m. is when that winter weather advisory finally does expire. Light glaze happened yesterday and not the kind. I mean, I wish I had a glazed donut right now, not a glazed roadway leading to try to find a donut, but that's where we're at right now. Snow showers, less than an inch when we're done with all of this, and then no more winter precip for the next 10 days after this morning. But the impact will be felt when it comes to the cold. We'll focus on that in a few minutes.
Right now, though, we're focusing on your steer clear traffic report at 6:40. Do want to bring to your attention this issue on your screen. This is I-40 westbound Briley Parkway. You can see the flashing lights there. That is because of a single vehicle crash in this particular area. Now, the good news is you're not seeing any kind of lanes that are blocked. Traffic is flowing. Not seeing a slowdown there, so to speak. But again, I-40 west. Okay, this is going to be that area, I-40 westbound Briley Parkway. Flashing lights, TDOT is on the screen, or I should say TDOT is in the area, so they are responding, and hopefully they get that area cleared out as quickly as possible. Metro Police say a teenager was arrested Wednesday, and he is now accused of theft and a slew of other charges. Detectives finding this 19-year-old, Nicholas Dalton, reportedly driving a stolen Dodge. And that's not all. Police say Dalton had this, key fobs and tools that would allow him to steal other cars. All of that was on him. He is now being charged with theft, driving on a suspended license, and other serious charges. After the break, we're talking about politics because Hunter Biden has finally said he will testify before House Republicans. When that's going to take place over on Capitol Hill.
Deadly winter storms continue to be a threat across the country. I'm Connor Hansen in New York with the serious impacts and how some are preparing coming up.
The playoffs are in.
Heading into this weekend's code red weather alert, we know that pipes bursting could be a costly reality, and we want to help you avoid that situation. Our Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar in the Hillwood Estates area, where there was a water main break earlier this morning.
The Metro Water Services says there's an active water break happening right now. We couldn't be in front of the home because it's a private residence, but what I can do is show you an idea of where that home is. It's about 4 blocks down the road, and if you make a left a couple blocks down, that is on Darden Place and Summerly Drive. The Metro Water Services says that that's one of 2 places where there is an active water main break. The other is in the Glen Cliff neighborhood. Now, I spoke to the president of Busy Bee, a plumbing, heat, and air conditioning company, that says that those 2 events are not isolated. They saw hundreds of calls for pipes bursting earlier in the week because of freezing temperatures. Take a listen.
Our call center has been swamped. We have had excessively long wait times. I think the max out Monday morning was about 230 calls into our call center. So we were having a lot of issues trying to fill those calls and then figure out what was emergencies and what wasn't and getting people on schedule. And the technicians are working extremely late.
Williams says that he expects to see more calls this weekend as the temperatures drop to the teens. Reporting in Hillwood Estates, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you so much. And Greg, I always like to give a little reminder for folks who are new, maybe you're a new homeowner, as to why the water main breaks are an issue this time.
Yeah, they're an issue because we get really, really cold and water expands. And if you're not dripping your pipes and keeping the water flow going, you can get these little clogs that happen. And then when the water tries to move through the pipes and it begins to melt a little bit, the water's pushing on that clog and it can actually cause the pipes to expand more. And if you haven't flushed the toilets, you haven't used the showers, you haven't used the faucets, it can end up making those pipes burst. So just be very careful. Continue to use room temperature to cold water to drip the pipes until we're out of this upcoming weekend. Little snow still coming down here. Tompkinsville through Cookeville, Gallatin, Portland, still in Clarksville, now moving into the Dickson area. Those areas a little bit lighter. Lighter blue means lighter snowfall. So this is not by any means anything we have to worry about when it comes to sticking to our main roads this morning. That's not the case. Road temperatures are too warm. It's going to melt. We've been treated. We're okay, but you will be seeing some flakes flying. Taking a look. Black ice, though, is possible later this morning into the afternoon, especially as temperatures continue to fall. That will make our road temperatures drop as well. Dangerous wind chills ahead. Tonight, we'll be at a low temperature of 6 degrees. Tomorrow, 3 degrees. Your wind chill going into Sunday morning could be as cold as 10 below. We're doing it again. One more time, but warmer next week in the forecast. Taking a look, winter weather advisories in effect for most of Middle Tennessee through 9 a.m. And then a wind chill advisory being covered up by the purple here is for all of Middle Tennessee for tonight into tomorrow morning. Here's your 7-day forecast. We're going to leave you on positive notes as often as possible this morning because it's been a long week. Right side of your screen, there are your positive notes. 51 degrees on Tuesday, 59 on Wednesday, and 64 degrees on Thursday. That'll be some 70 degrees warmer in some spots than it was a week before it.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Humans making snow angels is common. What about horses? Seems this one's making the equine version near Portland, Maine. Penguins on parade at the Cincinnati Zoo during this week's blast of Arctic weather. Penguins are native to the Antarctic, where temperatures are much colder than the Arctic. And in Chattanooga, this roof-to-ground icicle took shape during this week's wintry weather.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Major crash we just picked up. Hopefully everyone is okay. This is Ellington Parkway at Trinity Lane. Wow, a massive response here. A couple of cars sideways, a couple of cars are crushed. And this is all as authorities are out there trying to respond. Looks like they're trying to get someone out of that truck, what I believe to be a truck there, on the shoulder of the road. So again, this is coming down from the north side, Madison, East, Nashville, in that area. Ellington Parkway in the Trinity Lane area. Hopefully they can get whoever it is they're working out of there and into an ambulance, but it is going to cause a slowdown from the north side. You could try to use Dickerson Pike or Gallatin Road as the best bet to steer clear. The snow is still falling in other parts of the mid-state, so please watch out for that. And the slick spots, especially on the shoulder this morning. We're going to continue to watch this scene and others.
Yeah, tough situation, Justin. Thank you. We also have continuing coverage, of course, of the deadly winter storms. Our Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has more on how folks here in the mid-state and across the country really are handling the bitter cold.
In Rochester, New York, a small American Airlines plane slid off a runway in snowy conditions. None of the 53 passengers and crew on board were hurt. In nearby Buffalo, several feet of lake-effect snow now accumulating. Some areas could end up with 7 feet of snow after this week. And the tri-state area is expecting several inches heading into the weekend, with some officials asking people to stay home if possible.
New Jersey will be remaining in a state of emergency, which we first declared ahead of the storms that we saw last week.
Freezing temperatures are being blamed for 14 deaths in Tennessee, leading some people to spend the day handing out supplies to help people make it through the deep freeze.
I think it's definitely been the case that, people who are poor and people who are homeless are getting hit the hardest.
In Portland, Oregon, 3 people were killed and a baby was injured on Wednesday after a power line fell on their car.
The vehicle was electrified, and so when they touched the ground and touched the vehicle, the electrical current ran through them, and the end result is we have 3 deceased individuals.
Videos from other parts of the state show roads and trees completely coated in ice. And outside of Chicago, massive ice jams are forming and could flood homes along the Kankakee River.
You can't do anything. It's impossible. You just stand there and you watch it and you pray to God, oh my God, please don't come in my house.
Up to 5 inches of snow is expected here in New York City Friday. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Hunter Biden officially agrees to testify before House Republicans behind closed doors. That's going to be on February 28th, so we're talking about politics now. The House Oversight Committee says his deposition will come after several interviews with Biden family members and other associates. This does come after months of defiance from the president's son, who insisted on testifying publicly instead. Republicans argue the younger Biden should not get any kind of special treatment. They were set to advance a contempt resolution against Biden, but called it off earlier this week in hopes of reaching this agreement. The Bidens, by the way, deny any kind of wrongdoing. Sometimes you just need a little bit of horsepower. I'm talking about the real deal horsepower. Coming up, the unusual turn of events that led to this now viral video. And also on Fox 17 News this morning during our 8 o'clock hour, we're going to check in with Tennessee Highway Patrol and the Tennessee Department of Transportation, trying to figure out how they're working to clear those icy roads.
And Fox 17 News continues to follow our code red weather alert, and that includes the traffic as well. And this is Ellington Parkway at Trinity Lane. That's where we are dealing with a crash. It does involve at least 1 injury. Crews are working to get someone out of a truck that has been crushed up after it crashed into something out there because of the ice and the snow. We will continue to follow this scene and tell you how you cannot end up in this situation coming up in the next few minutes.
Good morning, time. Right now it's 6:54. Monitoring a few more things. We are still in a code red weather alert. We have cold temperatures that are moving in as we speak. Temperatures are dropping, and they're bringing in a little bit of snow, which is also dropping from the sky right here. Let's take a look at top of the radar and track where it is at. Light blues equal light snowfall. So we're talking areas like Hopkinsville through Oak Grove. You get down toward Clarksville and even Dickson and Ashland City now, seeing these light snowflakes that are coming down. This will not really stick to anything that we have to really be concerned about, but you will definitely notice some flakes flying even in the Nashville area. A few pockets of some light snowfall out toward the airport as well. This is not a high impact event when it comes to snowflakes that are reaching the ground. The ice from yesterday's rain, a much bigger impact to the start of our day. When does the snow pick up and get a little bit heavier? The darker blues indicate heavier snowfall over Gallatin, out toward Hartsville, Lebanon, Mount Juliet. This moves down toward Watertown, eventually Smithville and Gordonsville in about 10 to 15 minutes. This is not, again, the big reason why we are code red. We are code red for very cold temperatures that are starting to already develop across Middle Tennessee. We have temperatures that went from 34 degrees 3 hours ago to the upper 20s right now, and they will continue to drop. Your weekend outlook, bitterly cold mornings. Tomorrow morning, 6 degrees. Sunday morning, 3 degrees. You factor in the wind that will pick up throughout today. Our wind chills as cold as 5 to 10 below. Tonight into tomorrow morning, and tomorrow into Sunday morning. But when I show you the 7-day forecast, stick with us going into the 7 o'clock hour. We'll become your only live and local news source from 7 to 9. I want you to look at the right side of that 7-day forecast. Things get much better very quickly next week.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Boy, we are following a bit of a mess up there on the Ellington. This is Ellington Parkway area north of town. So we've got at least 2 different crashes that we're following there. One does involve an injury. This is one of those crashes, and that is a car that has skidded off the road here at Ellington Parkway, very close to Trinity Lane. You can see emergency crews. You can also see that car that clearly is not supposed to be going in that direction. At some point it flipped around, and now crews are there dealing with that. It is also causing backups here along Ellington Parkway as you head back towards Madison. You could try to use Dickerson Pike on this side or Gallatin Pike on this side as the best ways to steer clear.
Check this out, trending on Fox17News.com. Some old-fashioned horsepower helping to pull an SUV out of a ditch. Yeah, this happened over in the Lawrence County area. I mean, multiple attempts to pull this white SUV out of the ditch, but an Amish man riding by pulled aside to help with a pair of his very own horses. A group of men pushing the vehicle from the front while the 2 horses that you see, they tried to drag that car out from behind, and together, the horse and that manpower, they worked to get the vehicle back on solid ground, making it work. You can read much more about that story by going to Fox17.com. Now we have an important warning for folks who enjoy deli meats. That's because the FDA says some charcuterie meats, well, it could contain salmonella, so very serious. Their charcuterie sampler from Busetta brand with 3 types of meats that's sold at Sam's Club, and then the Fratelli Brunetta brand, regular and twin pack, sold through Costco, should not be eaten. The FDA says go ahead and toss those items out. Fans of the Kansas City Chiefs are not just talking about the team's Super Bowl aspirations. They're also infatuated with the head coach, Andy Reid's his frozen mustache. I'm not kidding. Yes, Saturday's Chiefs game was the coldest game in Arrowhead Stadium history. So cold that his mustache, did you see this? It froze up like an icicle. Oh, that's cold. Now a Kansas City bakery is memorializing that iconic look with this cake featuring the coach's mustache there, that frozen mustache. Well, the response to this cake, it has been overwhelming with folks trying to get in that bakery and enjoy.
Promotional consideration for this program provided by Ponce Law.
Do you know someone who is a hometown hero in our community? Maybe they helped you out this week during the winter weather. If you do, Fox 17 News, we would love to share their story. Ponce Law and Fox 17 teaming up to find and award local hometown heroes $1,000. Veteran, teacher, first responder, frontline worker, I mean anyone you know doing some amazing things in our community. Here's how you nominate. Go online, poncelaw.com/hometown hero every month. A selected hero will then be featured right here on Fox 17 News.
Promotional consideration for this program provided by Ponce Law.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
It's been a long, cold week for the mid-state, and Fox 17 News is in a code red weather alert for dangerously cold temperatures and wintry conditions. Could we soon see an increase in the temperatures? That's the big question. Coming up, our very own code red meteorologist Greg Bobus going to tell you what your weekend, though, your chilly weekend, is going to look like.
Steer clear traffic out there. That's going to be Ellington Parkway at Bill Allen. That is where we are dealing with lane closures out there because of the snow and ice and several accidents there. We're going to give you the very latest on that coming up in the next few minutes.
As we continue to see temperatures drop, the more ice there could be, like on this road in the 12 South neighborhood. We're keeping you up to speed on what the road conditions are looking like.
Some slick spots out there. Yeah, thanks so much for waking up with us, though. On a Friday morning for Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
And I am Justin McFarland. Fox 17 News, of course, your only live and local news source with you from 7 until 9. Everyone else is in national pre-recorded news. We are here with the local headlines in Nashville.
Yes, and we do begin with a breaking news update this Friday morning. The Tennessee Emergency Management Agency letting us know 17 people have died as a result of this week's winter storm.
Now, just yesterday, we reported that those death toll was around 14 people, but now TEMA says an additional 3 deaths have been reported in places like Marshall and Roane counties. Another round of dangerous cold is expected to move into Middle Tennessee coming up in just a few hours.
Unfortunately, that is the case. Right now, Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus tracking those chilly temperatures. And you know what? I have to say, this morning, if you step outside, we're in the 30s.
Yes.
But it's not going to stay that way.
No, it's not. Actually felt warm compared to where we've been.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where you're going to walk outside and go, we always get warmer throughout the day, right? That's just what we're supposed to do. When it's cold in the morning, you get warm by the afternoon. We're flipping the bill. This is a deceiving one right here. Temperatures will drop below freezing for wind chill overnight tonight. We're going to add to the icy situation out there, all the rain and freezing rain we had yesterday. If it is not frozen to that ice pack we already have in that snowpack, it will freeze in the coming hours. We have temperatures that have fallen from 34 degrees right around 3 o'clock in the morning into the upper 20s. So keep that in mind this morning. Secondary roads, our neighborhood streets that have not been touched yet when it comes to plowing that already have some ice pack, going to be worse today than they were yesterday in many areas. Watch out for black ice. If you're using your headlights this morning, or if there are still some street lights that are on as the sun has just come up, and you see any reflection of what looks to be completely cleared pavement, that is likely black ice. Be very careful heading out the door this morning. Winter weather advisory still in effect until we get toward 9 a.m. This is because of the travel implications of what has happened yesterday into this morning. Some light snowfall falling in Clarksville through Hopkinsville, Gallatin, and also Tompkinsville. So keep that in mind. Right along the Kentucky state line, just north and south of it, we are seeing some flakes flying. They're not going to stick. Wind chill advisory tonight is cold as 5 to 10 degrees below zero. So we're keeping the temperatures falling for 3 more days before we get a little relief next week. And we're keeping you informed as you head out the door this morning, because things really have been a very slow stepping stone to get a little bit better. Fox 17 News, Peyton Muse is out there for us, showing us how slicked over things are and if we've seen any improvement day to day when it comes to our side streets.
Greg, no improvement here. There's actually a little bit of flurries. I'm sure you guys can see that on my screen, but on this screen, as the light, I mean, it's 7 o'clock now, so it's lighter out. I was hoping to see some improvements, but there's actually none. I'm going to have our photojournalist kind of move the camera down here just so you guys can see how slick this road is on Eastwood Avenue. And as we're seeing temperatures drop, the quicker they drop before the road traffic picks up, the more ice there could be. And you probably can see that I am slipping and sliding here, so trying to stay put. NDOT tells us before the second winter storm hit on Thursday, primary roads were looking good, and that's like Briley Parkway, Harding Place. And a lot of those roads are actually TDOT roads, but NDOT works very closely with the state. And the city is working to wrap up some secondary roads, which has to get cleared up before crews start working on neighborhood streets. All right, so technical difficulties there. Now, NDOT says, depending on how the roads look later today, after the second round of this has cleared, it'll determine where they will go next. They may have to go back to the primary roads and then the secondary roads. And they've also received more than 500 calls for neighborhood streets for them to be plowed and get treated. But until we have a better idea of what the conditions are looking like later, they cannot exactly respond to those. But NDOT is suggesting people who have roadways that look like this one right behind me to submit a claim through Hub Nashville. Reporting in 12 South, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your code station.
All right, Peyton, thank you so much. Icy conditions to be sure over there in the 12 South neighborhood. And we're also facing icy conditions out on Ellington Parkway. That is where we are north of town. This is Madison and East Nashville. We've got several cars that have slid off the road, and either they've slid into each other or they've slid into some of the rocks over there on the shoulder of the road. The road is open, but please keep in mind, if you come downhill, and that's exactly what's happening here, as you come downhill, you're running into some of that ice in that area, and that is causing a lot of problems, not just here, but also other areas of Ellington, including right here. This is going to be Ellington at Ben Allen Road. They've already shut down one lane there because it's so icy. And even if you look at the overpass up above it, I'm unsure exactly which street that is, but that doesn't look like a lot of fun to drive across. That is for sure. Schools are canceled for the day. And so if you can stay off the road, they're asking you to please do so because of dangerous spots like this one.
Temple Road shows a different story on one side than the other. I'll tell you what that shows coming up.
Karen, thank you. And Fox 17 News taking a live look outside this morning, showing you two looks, one Lower Broadway, the other First Horizon Park. Now listen, it could be as cold as 10 below on Sunday. Ooh. A winter weather advisory, is in place until 9 a.m. today. But we are sharing some encouraging warm weather updates. We just have to make it through this weekend.
Bundle up. We'll be right back.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
7:09 is the time. It is Friday, and we are off to yet another cold winter morning here across the mid-state all week long. Our reporters have been keeping you in the know about things going on out there. And Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joins us right now, right on the border of Williamson and Davidson County, with something unique to that area after one side of the street is plowed and the other, not so much.
Yeah, that's right. Justin, we just passed Temple Road. We were trying to stop by there to give you a closer look, but they are private residences and we're not finding any area at this moment. But I wanted you to take a look at what the roads look like here in Davidson County. They are slushy with snow. There's still some ice covered on the ground. Now, that's a stark difference from what we're seeing in Williamson County. Now, my driver is my photographer. He's going to be turning around here soon, hopefully, once we find space. And because this hit is a little bit short, I can just kind of explain what I've seen on the other side. It is smooth terrain. I've reached out to the WMEA in Williamson County for comments, and I'm waiting to hear back. Also, I'm trying to hold NDOT accountable as to why the Temple Road has not been a priority. When we have those answers, we'll get back to you. Reporting live in Davidson County, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News.
All right, Greg Bobus is going to tell us about the cold conditions that we can expect this weekend because even though the snow is coming to an end, the cold weather is not.
That is very true. And any snowflakes that you do see this morning is the end of it. And this is just light flurry activity. It's not going to stick to our roadways. This is not going to add to any of the headaches we've had all week long. But there are a few pockets of some lighter snow exiting the Hopkinsville area. But lighter snow picked up by these very light blues that we see going through Clarksville, Dickson, barely getting to Centerville, and then even in Nashville proper. The heavier snowfall, and it's by no means going to be snow that does stick, but the heavier snowfall is always the bands of darker blue. This is going to track down toward the Sparta and McMinnville areas here in 15 to 20 minutes. So any snow that you see this morning does not add to what we already had in terms of impact. It'll be out of here by mid-morning. Then we do turn to very, very cold temperatures. That happens throughout the day. throughout even just the next little bit here. We'll go from the upper 20s to right near 30 degrees. We're sitting there right now to 20 degrees by the end of today. The average high temperature is 49, and usually we go from the morning to the afternoon and we see our temperatures climb. That is not going to happen today. Overnight tonight, we continue to go down and down with temperatures all the way to about 6 degrees. Feels like temperature right now, 22 in Nashville, 17 in Tullahoma, 22 in Murfreesboro, and 23 in Columbia. Our nighttime wind chill temperatures are going to be as cold as 5 to 10 below overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Around this time, it could feel 5 degrees below zero. Wind chill advisory tonight into tomorrow. We'll talk much more about the cold. And when we finally flip the light switch, turn off the cold, and turn on some heat, warmer temperatures are ahead next week.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's take a quick look at what we're dealing with on Ellington Parkway. That has been the place that has been full of problems this morning if you're coming in from Madison and East Nashville. This is a live look here at Metro Police blocking off one lane of Ellington because of a couple of crashes up in front of this. So they're asking drivers to please take it slow up in that direction. It's right there on your map. It's the green and yellow in the middle there that is causing us some of those issues. I want to show you another angle here. There it is. This is going to be Ellington Parkway, Trinity Lane, there on the north side. Two-car crash that did involve some injuries. At least one person was taken away, we understand. You can see one of those cars there, that gray Camry there, facing the wrong direction on Ellington Parkway. So please, please, as you come downhill, be very careful about the snow and ice that is piling up.
It's nonstop. We're trying to get to as many people as we can.
It's a homeowner's nightmare. Coming up, we've got continuing coverage as a local plumbing company says it is busier than ever responding to people with frozen pipes.
Welcome back. 7:16 is the time. Greg, I got a question for you. Some folks are planning ahead for the weekend.
Of course.
I plan on going running tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. Is that even going to happen?
All you have to contend with is just making sure you know what your route is, because if it's going to go in areas where we've not really gotten the snow out, then that's going to be an issue. But nothing will be coming down when it comes down to snow, freezing rain.
But how cold are we talking? That's the question.
That's the thing. Can you handle running in cold temperatures? It'll be around 5-6 degrees and it'll feel even colder. So
you run on ice? You wearing ice skates tomorrow? Is that what you're doing?
We're reevaluating.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to work on it.
Yeah, look at the route and know what temperature threshold you can handle to run in. That's kind of the name of the game when it comes to being out early tomorrow. I'm telling you right now, wind chill advisory in effect until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Wind chill temperatures will drop below zero. But if you're a conditioned runner and you don't mind that really cold air and it doesn't impact you and your route does not involve ice, that is the big thing, then you should be okay. Taking a look, feels like temperatures right now. Yeah, we have temperatures that are going to feel like 13 degrees by noon. Right now it's 22. How do we get colder? Cold air moves in. That's how it works here in the winter. We do get those days occasionally where the morning temperatures are warmer than the afternoons. That's how today will be. Here's tomorrow morning. Stopping at 6 a.m. 3 below in Nashville. 9 below in Dickson, 10 below in Camden, and 16 below for the feels-like temperature out in the Cookeville area. So keep that in mind. That's how we're going to be. Our weather maker for today is that drop of temperature that could lead to more ice from yesterday's rain and freezing rain. But good news is that half of our 7-day forecast isn't all that bad. 51 degrees on Tuesday, 59 on Wednesday, and 64 on Thursday. Those 3 days will involve some rain that will help bring in the warmer air, but the rain will also melt anything that is left on the ground from all of our winter weather and wash away a lot of that salt and brine that is on the roadways underneath and on top of that snow and ice pack.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. We continue to watch a couple of key spots. This one on Ellington Parkway. As you make that drive down from the north side in the Madison area, as you can see, there's a couple of cars there involved in a crash. Metro Police are there along with TDOT, and they are continuing to evaluate the road. Ellington Parkway is open, but it's extremely tricky right now. There's a crash not only here, but another one back behind it. This is Ellington Parkway at Ben Allen. You can see they've got one lane shut down because of a crash there where another car went flying off of the road. We're going to continue to follow it. Just know Ellington, Briley, Vietnam Vets, anywhere that's elevated at times is going to have problems.
Well, swamped and overwhelmed as a result of the winter weather storms, a local plumbing company says they are busier than ever before, taking calls for frozen pipes and pipes that have burst due to the brutal temperatures this week. Our Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller showing us how the plumbers, well, they have a unique point of view.
So right now we're redoing the drain from here to the outside.
Dakota Caldwell at Hiller Plumbing says he's redoing some of the other piping.
And this glue is actually frozen, so I've been thawing this out for about an hour.
And is putting a fitting on the outside in order to fix this frozen pipe.
What happened was this condensate drain has frozen.
And prevent further damage.
What we're doing now is we're redoing the drain and both of the drain lines over here that come off the water heater.
Caldwell says if you have a tankless water heater and you hear a gurgling noise, you should check to see if the pipe is frozen and then take a hairdryer to the pipe.
Then you can take a hairdryer to them. As long as you're not holding it there for 3 or 4 hours, it's not going to melt, and eventually that ice will break itself loose and allow the tankless water heater to work properly.
Caldwell says this is just one instance of the influx of calls that they've received about frozen pipes or pipes bursting inside homes, garages, and on the ground.
It's nonstop. We're trying to get to as many people as we can, but it doesn't work out that way all the time.
Caldwell says it's not good seeing so many people with their water off.
Okay, Caldwell says it's also not good to just not prepare. This year's pipe conditions are a lot worse, they say, than last year's. He says in last year's storm, pipes were frozen, but they were not bursting as much as they have been doing this week. A nasty situation. He is emphasizing the importance of keeping a faucet running and your cabinets open. Don't worry, we have all these tips over on fox17.com.
A former suspect involved in Nashville tanning bed murders. Remember those, for those who were here? Well, he could be facing brand new charges. We're going to tell you what investigators have revealed and the details of some of those new allegations up next.
And we're taking a live look over at a frosty First Horizon Park. How about that? Look, the snow still out there. If you want a little bit of Friday positivity, we are about 60 days away from the first day of spring. We can make it past this weekend, y'all. Happy Friday.
My TV 30 has your
A winter weather advisory in place until 9 a.m.
That it is, and that's for what came down yesterday, not what's happening right now. You might look out your window and go, why in the world am I seeing snowflakes again? Well, that's just because this is ahead of colder air that is beginning to move into the area. These are light snow flurries, but they are moving through a few of our areas that are more heavily traveled this time of the day. Joelton out toward Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, coming up from Smyrna in through Nashville. This is light snowfall. It is going all the way down south toward the Brentwood and Franklin areas as well. Murfreesboro, you're not seeing much just yet. The more decent bands of some snow are Lebanon down through Watertown, Smithville, and then Gordonsville. So all of this area right here, this is not heavy in terms of it's going to stick a lot, but just you're seeing some decent snowflakes that are coming down. Yesterday's rain and freezing rain, that is the much bigger story leading forward and into the upcoming weekend. We're going to see our road temperatures drop once again. Right now, they're back below freezing. At 2 o'clock in the morning, they were above 30 degrees. Now we're talking about everything that came down in form of rain and freezing rain yesterday. It is becoming ice as we speak. The roads that are not being traveled right now, especially side streets and secondary roads, will be much icier even 6 hours from right now than they are at this exact time because of a drop in temperature. Right side of your screen, all the way through 9 a.m., your current temperatures that are in the upper 20s, they're going to be in the upper teens to right near 20 degrees by the time you're eating dinner tonight.
It's slick out here, and here's one example. Steer clear traffic update at 7:25. Moments ago, I saw the tow truck pull on over to the right shoulder. Live look at Ellington Parkway right at Trinity Lane, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 crews responding to this scene over there. That vehicle pulled over on the right snowy shoulder, so a nasty situation that is blocking I believe, one lane of traffic there. So just slowly folks making their way down there. Keep that in mind if you're heading out to Ellington Parkway at Trinity Lane. Give yourself a little extra time and watch out for those flashing lights. Be careful and keep them safe out there too. In Operation Crime and Justice now, a man formerly charged in the killing of 2 women at a Nashville tanning salon nearly 30 years ago is now facing serious charges over in Washington state. This morning, we are learning that Patrick Streeter, right here on your screen, is facing serious attempted rape charges. More than a decade ago, Metro Police arrested Streeter for the murders of Tiffany Campbell and Melissa Chilton. He was later released after DNA results did not connect him, though, to the crime. Streeter is currently being held in the King County Jail on a $250,000 bond. Well, we love to share everything you're seeing out there on Fox 17 News. This winter weather has created some beautiful scenes like this one for all of us here. Scott Malden, thank you so much. I got this email yesterday and wanted to share it with y'all. It's a photo of Centerville Lake in Putnam County. Just shows you all the snow. He shot this photo on Wednesday from an overlook over on Highway 56. Take a look at this. So picturesque, so beautiful. Thank you, Scott, for sharing.
Wondering when your roads like this one in the 12 South area will get treated. We're going to break down Nashville's Department of Transportation's process coming up next.
I love your dress.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Thank you for waking up with us here on Fox 17 News this Friday morning. I'm Erica Glover. Justin, you always say we made it.
Congratulations, you made it to Friday. I am Justin McFarland. We are here with you as Fox 17 News brings you the live and local news coming up here from 7 live until 9. And we're going to begin with the weather. It's been the biggest story all week.
All week long, and this time we're not done just yet, but there is some positivity. We just got to make it through the weekend.
Once we're done with the weekend, everything really does look much better day by day. By the end of the 7-day forecast, we're going to put a temperature upwards of 60 degrees on the 7 day. So just get through and bear through a few more days and we'll be okay. We're not going to see anything that we've not already had to go through, and it won't be as bad as some of the things that we have gone through. We have wind chills that are going to be below 0 overnight tonight and tomorrow night, but they will not be as cold as they were Tuesday night and Wednesday night. So there we go. Not quite as bad in that department, but still not going to be on the safe side. We have to know that they're going to be dangerous below 0. Wind chill right now, 22 degrees in Nashville. Some teens already filtering in. Look at the direction the wind's coming from, the north and west. We're pulling in cold air as we speak, and that with it will bring in an increase in wind. Overnight tonight, actual temperature 6 degrees. By noon, by lunchtime today, we already have single-digit wind chills that are going to be in areas of southern Kentucky, just north of the state line. 13 will be that Nashville wind chill, and then overnight tonight, let's just let it roll and take a look where we go. Below 0 across the board, some 5 to 10 degrees below 0 for the wind chills to wake up to tomorrow morning and also on Sunday morning. And with that, we're not going to melt a whole lot here. Now, I'm tracking in the studio, but we've been out all over Middle Tennessee throughout the entire week, just looking at what's going on and how it's impacting you day to day. Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse is live for us here. And Peyton, what are you seeing? I know you've seen a lot of ice and snow-covered roads so far this morning. Where are you at? What are you seeing right now?
We're still in the 12th South neighborhood, Greg, but we're on at the end of Eastwood Avenue, and you can see this car behind me. We mentioned it in the earlier show. I actually spoke with the driver. He did not want to speak with us on camera, but he was driving down Eastwood Avenue, trying to go up a hill, realized, hey, I can't do that right now because, as you can see, the roads here are completely iced out. He tried to back down to go back onto Eastwood Avenue, and his car, as you can see, slipped and hit this fence. There's a tree there. He was stuck in the vehicle. Obviously, we made sure that he was okay. He called a tow truck. He's waiting on the tow truck right now. But there's a hill over here, and I think you can only imagine if this fence was not here, that car, the chances of it flipping and toppling over this hill would have been... It's very likely. I mean, this is just an insane thing to see. Thank God he's okay. And we know that these roads, again, NDOT says that they're focusing on primary roads, which they have started to clear. Secondary roads are something that they are working on, but with the weather that hit last night, it could kind of impact roads like neighborhood roads and these back roads, and they are encouraging people to submit claims to Hub and Nashville if your road looks like this one. And we are reporting live for now in 12 South. Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. We continue to follow the major crash so far, and that is here on Ellington Parkway, very close to Trinity Lane. There on the north side, that is where we are following one crash that has been with us now for several hours that did involve injuries. We do understand there is a tow truck there on the scene to hopefully get that cleared and out of the way. The other part of this crash was happening a little further north from here. It looks like that too could start to clear up. This is Ellington Parkway, very close to Ben Allen Road. You can see where the salt trucks are finally coming through. Hopefully they can get some traction going for the drivers out there clearing the roads right there. You can see them right there. There goes TDOT, and hopefully now they can start to make this road a little bit better. It's been a nightmare out there in Ellington Parkway so far this morning.
7:34 is the time. Now, during the winter months, some folks are stuck inside their homes until the weather or the road conditions clear. We know this. This morning, we're taking a deeper dive into how this could potentially take a toll on abuse victims and how local leaders are raising awareness.
We're joined this morning by Rachel O'Brien from OpenTheBooks.com. They are a not-for-profit watchdog group aiming to take a look at government waste and government spending, things like that. And good morning, Rachel. Can you please tell us exactly how this is breaking down? Fox 17 has, of course, been following human trafficking right here in Nashville. And we know this is something that the government, both local and federal, have been watching closely.
Yeah, so January is National Human Trafficking Prevention Month. And so, as you mentioned last month, you all reported here that human trafficking ring right in Nashville was busted. At least a dozen victims were rescued. And so what people really can do is look for signs of labor trafficking and sex trafficking. And you can look for signs of physical abuse, if a person is fearful or submissive, if they're living with many other people, they're paid very little. People can call the National Human Trafficking Hotline. They can also call the local Tennessee Bureau of Investigation hotline. So there's two different hotlines. They track the number of cases, unfortunately. So the number of cases keep going up, but that most likely has to do with the fact that the public is now more aware of this as an issue and they report it more. So those numbers do keep going up, which could be a good thing.
Real quick, I do want to ask you, you talked about that national hotline, but locally, do you know of what Nashville is doing to combat this big issue?
Yeah, so the highest number of calls from around the state, they come from the Middle Tennessee region. And so in last year, there were 15 operations that identified traffickers and they recovered victims and made 101 arrests. So the Metro Office of Family Safety, they have increased their budget every year. And this year it's almost $5 million. And they have a sexual assault center. Their spending is almost doubling this year, actually. And so we asked Metro specifically about the resources dedicated to human trafficking. And they said that their office, that family safety office, they work on all areas of violence, domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking, child abuse. Oftentimes, a single victim experiences multiple forms of victimization. So their office can help victims with human trafficking. On their website, they want to educate the public and they direct people to learn what it looks like, what trafficking looks like, and what to do if they see it. They point people to both those state and national hotlines.
All right, Rachel O'Brien, so OpenTheBooks.com. Thank you so much for taking a look at that.
Thank you.
There's a difference between this side and this side of Temple Road. Coming up at 7:40, we'll let you know where we are and the questions we have and want answered by officials.
Let me help you with that. I'm good, man.
Welcome back to Fox 17 News this morning. A winter weather advisory is still in effect for most of Middle Tennessee as the combination of the freezing rain and the sub-zero temperatures in some cases has left a lot of the roads very, very icy.
Yeah, it's an issue for sure. Fox 17 News reporter Karen Aguilar, you can see her there joining us to explain some more situations. Hey there, Karen.
Hi there. Well, we've seen throughout the course of the week that some roads have been treated and others haven't. For example, in North Nashville, I showed you all yesterday that the side roads were left untreated while the main roads and highways were treated. They were smooth. Now, I want to show you what we're looking at, county versus county, Davidson County versus William County. And just to give you an idea where I'm at Asbury and Temple Road. Take a look at this road on the right-hand side. That's what the Williamson County side looks like here on Temple Road. I'm going to zoom in so you can get a clearer picture. Slushy snow and ice on the ground. You can see that that car is moving pretty slowly there. And if I zoom out and I turn to the left, this is what the road looks like on the other side. This is the divide between Davidson County and Williamson County. You can see that that terrain is smooth. Now, of course, I'm showing you with my phone because you can see that there are no sidewalks here, but we try to talk to some homeowners, get some reaction. One of them in that house over there, she's out of town, but she told me that she finds it frustrating going on different sides of the road. We reached out to WMEA in regards to a comment about this, and I was told by the spokesperson that they make it a priority to treat the roads, but of course there's no telling when they'll get to stuff. They said that they've been pre-treating the roads from last week. I also reached out to the spokesperson from NDOT, and we haven't heard back yet. We're hoping to get an answer as to why there hasn't been a priority on this side of the road versus this side. Reporting live in Davidson County and Williamson County, because I'm right at the border, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Yeah, Karen, thank you. I imagine if you live in that area, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
We're talking right now about the winter weather advisory that is in place until 9 a.m. today. Sunday morning could be as cold as 10 below, so we're sharing, though, some positive warm weather thoughts, because if you can make it through this weekend, you can get through Sunday morning, let's say 4 degrees in Nashville, then look ahead to Thursday, 64 degrees.
60-degree jump in just a few days.
Justin, do you think you can make it?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm be fine.
We got this.
The question is everybody else going to be all right? Just stay indoors, everybody. Wait it out. The warm-up is coming. Clear traffic out there for you. Let's take a look here. This is going to be Ellington Parkway, very close to Ben Allen. Ellington Parkway, out of all places that would have had the most problems here this morning, Ellington Parkway has been by far the place that has had the issues. They have shut down a lane there as crews continue to work a couple of accidents and treat the roads. They're also in the cleanup stages of this crash on Ellington Parkway close to Trinity Lane as you make that drive down from the east side. Metro Police, along with TDOT there, a tow truck is there taking away the last of 2 cars that were really crushed up after a earlier accident that did involve some injuries. You can try to take Dickerson Pike, Gallatin Road, a lot of stoplights there, but it may be a little safer because right now that drive down Ellington can be extremely slick. Well, as the Mid-State continues to deal with the very first winter storm of 2024, we want to share your stories. If you have got a photo or video of you or your pets or your kids out there in the snow you want to share with us, you can do so on our website, fox17.com, under Chime In.
The Fox 17 Code Red.
Well, new this Friday morning, as Nashville and surrounding areas work to go ahead and get those areas clear, the roads after the winter storm hit Middle Tennessee, well, we're seeing a bit of an issue at hand.
Yes, we are. The Hendersonville Mayor, Jamie Clary, has called out the Tennessee Department of Transportation on Facebook for what he's calling their lack of work on Gallatin Road and New Shackle Island. Both of them are state-maintained roadways.
TDOT did a fabulous job on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, one of our state highways in Hendersonville. The other 2 we wish they could have gotten to sooner. I also wanted people to understand that we've got 250 miles of city roads, and that's what we focus on. We let TDOT take care of their roads, and we take care of ours.
Well, Fox 17 News working to get answers. TDOT sending us a statement, it's on your screen right now, stating the department is responding statewide as it's prioritizing major interstates. It reads, quote, while we prioritize major interstates in our snow removal efforts, we recognize some secondary routes and locations are also incredibly important.
They also went on to say during these extreme events, communication is key. Municipalities have a direct line to our regional directors, and we encourage local leadership to call immediately when the need arises.
Okay, if you would like to read much more about this particular story and take a look back at all of our winter weather coverage, you can do that. Go to fox17.com and also be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms.
And here we are at 747, taking a look at another code red day, and this time around it's going to be for exiting precipitation and entering cold weather once again. Wind chills going to be below zero tonight and tomorrow night. We just can't escape this winter weather. It's been stuck over us. We've been getting rounds of snow, freezing rain, a couple of flurries that are out there right now. If you're seeing snowflakes, looking out your window, don't worry about them. They're not going to stick. Light flurries here, nothing to worry about. Those are out of here by the end of this morning and toward the afternoon. So this is just nuisance snow. Honestly, it looks kind of pretty if you can stay home. It's not going to add to any of our totals that we have seen. Light glaze of ice, though, came down yesterday. That's on top of our snowpack and our ice pack and all of those roadways that have not been really catered to just yet. Side streets, secondary roads, all of those areas. We're still seeing a little bit of additional ice here this morning. In the next 3 days, low temperatures are in the pinkish purple boxes. Not looking good. Tomorrow morning, you wake up to 6 degrees. You wake up to 3 degrees on Sunday morning. That isn't our wind chill. That is just the actual air temperature. We're going to be as cold as 5 to 10 degrees below zero tomorrow morning and Sunday morning. Wind chill advisory in effect. Think back to Tuesday night into Wednesday night into Thursday, how we had temperatures that went below zero. That's how we're going to be when it comes to the wind chill once again for both days of the upcoming weekend. But we do have some relief on the way. 3 more code red days. We have been code red 11 of the last 12 days. It's been a long time since we've had a decent stretch of weather with kind of carefree conditions. That's going to be our way. Monday, 45, 52 degrees on Tuesday, 59 degrees on Wednesday, and 64 on Thursday. So after these flurries are done, no additional snowfall. Those percentage chances for precipitation are all going to be rain that will wash away the snow and the brine and kind of get us back into a little bit better of a situation. But we had a lot of snow earlier this week, Erica.
The snow. You know, I have my eyes on that 64 degrees. Ooh, it sounds good because it's been a long week for some of us. We've been dealing with that cold blast from old man winter. And just Wednesday, parts of the mid-state even saw more snow.
I know. So let's take a look at the last couple of years and just see what those snowfall totals were year by year, and then we'll kind of stack it up and compare it to this year, Erica.
Yeah, so 2020 to 2021, I'm going to write it here. We had 5. Well, I'm going to push my button real quick, and then I'll write it. I promise I will. 5, here we go, 0.4. That's what we saw there.
5.4 inches of snow for the entire year. So we're talking beginning of winter all the way to the end of winter is how we're going with these numbers here.
Okay, so this next year that we have, 2021 to 2022, 12.3. That's a big number.
One of the bigger numbers we've had in recent memory here when it comes to an entire winter season. 5.4 is actually just barely above what we're supposed to see.
Okay, so then we have this final year, 2022 to 2023, just 1.2.
Wasn't last winter nice that way?
It was nice.
This year we've already had 7.6 inches of snow. That happened all just over this past last Sunday and Monday. The average is 4.7, so we've already beaten that, and we're not even out of January yet. Just for perspective here this morning.
Gosh, all right, Greg, thank you. Kudos to you for creating this nice visual for us this morning.
I'm glad you wrote, or you wouldn't read the numbers. That was me, so thank you for that.
Thank you, I can write.
Still clear traffic out there, everyone. Thank you both for your combined efforts, our powers combined. Let's take a look here. This is I-40 at 46th Avenue over there on the west side of town. We're dealing with a disabled vehicle here. TDOT arrives along with Metro Police to get that situation under control. No major crashes out there on the interstate so far. People have taken it slow. If people are going to get out today, I believe they're going to do so after the mid-morning here, maybe after 10 o'clock when things start to melt away a little bit and get a little bit better as far as your driving condition is concerned, even though the temperature will drop throughout the day. We continue to follow this scene over here on Ellington Parkway. Okay. They have completely closed off Ellington over the last few minutes. I was waiting for TDOT to get a decent shot here for me, but the Tennessee Department of Transportation work trucks are now on the scene treating the road. So they acknowledge they've got a lot of work to do because they wanted to make sure the road was safe for drivers because of a number of accidents that they've had out there so far. So the interstate, or actually it's not an interstate, but the state road in this case, Ellington Parkway, has been shut down for a short period here while they treat the road and make sure it's safe for everyone.
All right, you hear the music. Let's talk sports. The Tennessee Titans are not letting a couple of snow days get in their way of finding a new head coach.
As a matter of fact, they've got brand new information that has just come into our newsroom about an hour ago. Multiple media sources are now confirming that the Tennessee Titans are planning to interview this man right back here. This is the former Stanford head coach, David Shaw. Now, Shaw had a record of 96 wins and 54 losses out there with Stanford, but stepped down as their head coach back in 2022.
The 51-year-old coach before in the NFL as an assistant coach, but lost, I should say, his last NFL job was back in 2005. So far, the Titans have interviewed 6 other candidates. That does include Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. How are you feeling about this?
Well, it depends on what you want, everybody, and that's what we're trying to figure out here. If you've heard of Dan Quinn before, not only is he the current defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, he was also the former Atlanta Falcons head coach from 2015 to 2020, even led the Falcons to the Super Bowl before that historic collapse against the New England Patriots. They were up 28-3 before losing that game somehow. Quinn is also reportedly interviewing with the Washington Commanders, the Carolina Panthers, the Los Angeles Chargers, as well as the Seattle Seahawks, where he was once an assistant.
I mean, that feels like a lot of other people. But meanwhile, the Titans' former head coach, Mike Vrabel, was in Los Angeles and interviewed with the Chargers for their head coach opening. It's Vrabel's first head coach interview since he was fired by the Titans January 9th.
Now, Vrabel is joining a long list of other candidates the Chargers are looking at, including former Michigan head coach, or actually current Michigan head coach, he hasn't resigned, current Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh, who just won the national championship, along with former NFL head coaches like Steve Wilkes and Leslie Frazier. We will keep you up to date as more information becomes available about all the coaching searches out there, and there's a bunch of them.
A lot happening in the sports world. Hey, a dangerous combination out there this morning. We're talking about what's still on the ground and the cool down, the chilly temperatures that are continuing, and how it's impacting our road conditions as the wet streets freeze over again. Stay with us. Happy Friday.
If you overdraw your account, Wells Fargo.
Good morning. Taking a look at the big weather picture for us here going forward, and that is everything freezing over again. We're doing it. We're going cold and colder throughout the day, and that will give all of our rain and freezing rain from yesterday the ability to turn to ice, especially on the snowpack and ice packs that are there when it comes to side streets, secondary roads that haven't been touched just yet. That's going to be a big concern going into the afternoon. Also, a big freeze when it comes to cold temperatures and how it just feels to get out the door. We're back to below zero tomorrow morning and back to below zero on Sunday morning when it comes to that feels like wind chill. Today, though, watch out for black ice. There could be some deceiving roads out there that look clear, but they had that coating of some liquid yesterday from the rain and from the freezing rain, and they could give us some areas that get very slick very quickly. Winter weather alerts here for us. A winter weather advisory will be in effect until 9 o'clock this morning because of the travel. And then we're going to hone in on a wind chill advisory for those cold temperatures this weekend coming up in just a few moments from right now.
7:58. Quick look at your steer clear traffic. All right, we're dealing with a couple of issues out there. The biggest problem by far this morning has been Ellington Parkway up around the Trinity Lane area and basically anywhere north of there. So Trinity Lane up towards Ben Allen, up towards Broadmoor, all of that has been iced over. TDOT has spent the last several minutes treating the road, so hopefully it's a little bit better for drivers out there after a couple of early morning accidents. The other things we've been following is this brand new crash out of Murfreesboro. This is I-24, Highway 96 there, very close to New Salem. As you can see, they've got several crews there on the shoulder of the road. The interstate is open, but crews are working hard to make sure that no more crashes happen as they continue to try to treat that road, I'm sure, coming up in the next few minutes.
In entertainment news, it is Tennessee icon Dolly Parton's birthday today. The country music legend, 78 years old. She makes it look so good.
It's amazing what she's been able to accomplish here, and I'm really surprised this is not a state holiday of some type. She has spent much of that time building an enormous musical career that will last for generations to come. She's also kickstarted a lot of charity causes like Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. So there are a number of celebrations going on. The Grand Ole Opry is celebrating Dolly tonight as the Opry goes Dolly. And then over at the Ryman Auditorium, that is where artists will honor her as well as they cover some of her many musical hits and more.
But Justin, it doesn't stop there. Dolly said just this morning on X, she is giving her fans a birthday surprise. She's gifting us. She's releasing 4 songs for the very first time, a new album, so to speak.
Okay, but a mini album. Here.
Mini album.
Okay, so just put it on repeat if you want to get the full effect. Let's check out what's going on our website right now, fox17.com, and the #1 trending stories right now. Seems to be something going on with Walmart. Walmart slammed after gifting employees 55-cent ramen for working during the blizzard. So apparently some Walmart workers are out there during the blizzard going the extra mile, making sure the store remained open, and Walmart rewarded them by giving them 55-cent ramen.
Okay. It's a story that went viral on TikTok, and now it's over on fox17.com. Read the details there. 8 o'clock hour starts right now.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
We are once again in Code Red. We just cannot escape this winter weather. This time around, a couple of flurries out there I'll track momentarily, but also bitterly cold once again going into the upcoming weekend.
Stay clear traffic for you this morning. This is going to be I-24 at Highway 96. This is where we've got a crash out there this morning where they have got the road completely, not covered, but at least one lane is affected here. Ellington Parkway on the north side is having a lot of problems, though. We're going to tell you more about that coming up in just a few moments.
We're going to hear from this young gentleman who has been driving around in the 12 South area. He ended up getting stuck, and he's been in his car for 5 hours.
All right. Thanks for waking up with us here on a Friday morning for Fox 17 News. I'm Erica Glover.
And I am Justin McFarland. As Fox 17 News continues our Code Red weather alert this morning as your only local news source, live with you from 7 until 9.
We're going to begin with a breaking news update this morning because the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency says 17 people have died as a result of this week's winter storm.
Yesterday, we reported on this number, and it was around 14 deaths. So TEMA says the additional 3 deaths happened in places like Marshall and Roane counties. Another round of dangerous cold is expected to move into Middle Tennessee coming up here in the next few hours.
Yeah, we're talking about single-digit numbers, and it's going to happen for the next 2 days. We're going to check in now with our Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist, Greg Bobus.
Yes, this is one of those days where we're just working through what happened yesterday and how today will impact the freezing rain we had 12 to 18 hours ago. Colder air is moving in. You may see a few flurries out there this morning, a few snowflakes flying around. That snow globe effect, this is not going to be weather that we have to worry about, but there are a few pockets of some snow that have developed and moved into the Nashville area. Darker blues through areas like Jolton, Ashland City, Kingston Springs, and Nashville that I'm circling right here. Those are the areas that are seeing, again, light to moderate rainfall that's coming down at a decent clip. It's not going to add to any snowfall totals. That is the good news, and the direction it's moving is going to go toward the south and the east. So we're talking Mount Juliet. You had a couple of flurries earlier, about 10-15 minutes. You'll have a couple more of those that do move in, and a few patches of some light to moderate snowfall continue through southern Kentucky and out toward the Cumberland Plateau. When all is said and done, not much going to add up to what we already have on the ground. What we had yesterday is the bigger story because our temperature right now is still holding at 30 degrees in Nashville. As soon as these light snow flurries end for us, we're going to see temperatures quickly drop. Today's highlights end up being a low light by the end of the day. We'll talk about a temperature right around 9-10 o'clock that will be at 27 degrees. It falls to 20 by dinner time. Ice will begin to form with all that rain that we had yesterday. And the roads were already a mess. And someone who's been on road patrol for us here this morning and is in the 12 South area is Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse, who is with someone who has had a very, very long morning. We're only here at 8:03. Peyton.
Oh, Greg, I can only imagine what Winston Cavender is going through. First off, he tells me that he was driving for Uber. And first off, Winston, I know this is a loaded question, how are you doing? Are you okay? I mean, what's going on?
I'm all right. I'm just a bit tired, but I'm all right.
Now, how did this happen? I know we're on Eastwood Avenue. We're on a back road right here, and I know you were telling me and explaining to me earlier that you kind of slipped, but walk me through what happened here.
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to get up from here. There's like a hill on both sides. I went up, the first way I went up that way, and I started sliding just to go all the way up here. And there were a bunch of cars around. So I was like, I'll go a different route to try and get down somewhere where there's not so many cars. So I took this way, not realizing how much ice there was. I immediately slid and just slid right into here. And my car turned. And since then, it hasn't been able to get out.
So, again, we are so glad that you're okay. It doesn't look like any damage to your car. There's a fence behind here. I know there's a gentleman who crashed a few feet up here from you. You told me that you called police. I mean, these roads are slippery. Where were you driving from? I know you said you live at like 20 minutes out.
Yeah, I live just at Bell Road near Brentwood. Yeah.
And I mean, safe to say, obviously, we got to get your car out of here. You're safe. Anything else that you want to tell people who may consider hitting the roads today?
Just to stay safe about it. Like, I thought I was totally fine, but just be mindful. Yeah.
Well, Winston, we're so glad that you are okay. And again, everybody who decides to hit the roads today, especially if you're going to go on the back roads, be careful. Reporting live in 12 South, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Oh, Winston. All right, man, just hang in there. Hopefully somebody can come help you out soon, get you out of that situation, and you can be on your way. Just keep in mind some of those side roads, extremely icy, as they were just demonstrating to us there. Let's take a look at what's going on the interstates. It's a lot better than some of those side streets, but we are still having some problems. This is going to be I-40 at 46th Avenue as you make your way towards 440 there this morning. We are dealing with a crash on the shoulder of the road. TDOT is there dealing with that to make sure that stays out of your way. We're having major problems on Ellington Parkway a little bit earlier in the morning. That too has gotten out of the way this morning after they had to treat the road out there in Ellington. Thankfully, a lot of that traffic has been able to move out of the way in that area. Just please be careful out there. And one more thing we want to show you, and that's coming in from Murfreesboro. This is I-24 at Highway 96. A couple of different crashes there on the shoulder of the road. The interstate is open, but there's plenty of ice, and you never know when you'll be going from a nice clean patch of road to one that is covered by ice. It happens very suddenly, so please watch out for that. Fox 17 News this morning continues on with our Code Red weather alert and the forecast that's going to land us in the single digits coming up in a few. This is it. 8:09 is the time for you here on this Friday morning, and it is another very cold start out there, as it has been all week long, as our reporters have been out and about trying to keep you in the know.
One of those reporters right here, Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar, joining us to tell us about how some folks are seeing conditions that are different just depending on what side of the street you're standing on.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and let me tell you where I'm at. I'm on Temple Road near Asbury Drive. I'm on Williamson County, actually, and I want you to take a look at what the roads look like here. You can see that the roads are clear. There's no ice or heavy snow on it. Of course, there's a little bit snow falling now, but mainly clear. And if you walk with me here, of course, I don't want to get hit by that car, so I'm going to stay on this side. You can see that there is slushy snow on the ground, and it is a little bit slippery. Look how slow this car is driving, just to give you an idea of what the terrain looks like. Now, we are in between Williamson County and Davidson County. As you mentioned, folks are seeing a difference here. As I mentioned earlier, a woman in that house who was out of town, I spoke through her through the Ring camera, tells me that she's frustrated before she left, that she's seen a stark difference here. Now, we have a lot of questions, but we don't have answers to them. We do have answers from the Emergency Management Agency from Williamson County, who says that they pre-treated roads because of the winter storm, and they have been doing that pretty significantly. Workers have been doing about 12-hour shifts in this freezing temperatures. I reached out to the spokesperson for NDOT, and she has not responded to me yet, Courtney Stone. So we're waiting to hear back as to why there is a difference and hopefully get some of our questions answered. Reporting live in Nashville, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Yeah, snow-covered roads all over the place this morning. We have added ice from yesterday's rain and freezing rain, dropping temperatures that are below 32 degrees right now. And taking a look, we even have some snow flurries that are coming down, some big old snowflakes because of how warm it is. Still right near 30 degrees in the Nashville area. The pocket of the heaviest snowfall, same place it was about 10 minutes ago, hasn't moved all that much. We'll go Dickson and then down to the southeast through Brentwood. Go north up 65 toward Nashville and then out toward Ashland City to the north and the west. And you go south and west from there to Charlotte. Now, this is not going to stick all that much. It's just some snowflakes that will be out of here by the end of this morning. The bigger story are the roadways that just have not been treated yet and the additional ice accumulating throughout the day due to all of the rain and freezing rain we had yesterday. Smyrna and Murfreesboro. You might see a couple of snowflakes here in the short little while from now, about 10 minutes in Smyrna, Murfreesboro, closer to a half hour. This is nothing to write home about, but you will see some snow. Don't let it scare you away. What you should be really mindful of is your road. Icier than it was yesterday morning. In many cases, if they have not been treated or if they weren't plowed before we had our rain yesterday, they could be even icier than they were 24 hours ago.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning at 8:12. Let's take a quick look out there. This is going to be a live look at I-24, very close to Highway 96 out there in Murfreesboro. This at one point had several accidents associated with it. Now we're down to just one set of accidents there on the shoulder of the road. So TDOT is out there working to get it cleared and out of the way. Just know it's going to be rather congested, as you can see, making your way through I-24 in the Murfreesboro area, at least for the next little bit until emergency crews get completely out of the way. I want to show you this. This is Ellington Parkway at Ben Allen Road. If you look over to the left-hand side of your screen, you can see a truck or a van completely off of the road. TDOT, thank you. Thank you, TDOT. Showing us there that cargo van that has slid. Look how far, if you can, how far off the road this particular van went. So I'm unsure if there's another road or something down there where maybe the van came onto. I don't see one. I think this came all the way from either the ramp to get on to Ellington or perhaps Ellington Parkway itself. It just slid off and ended up down there. I don't know if crews are coming. Just know these are the kind of conditions that you could face out there this morning.
Oof, that is rough. Hey, just ahead, a match made in a winter storm. We're going to explain how an area jail is allowing inmates to help dogs stay warm. Stay with us.
There are so many
Welcome back. 8:15 is the time. Seasonal affective disorder, commonly called SAD, is in full swing. Sometimes children are impacted the most due to less daylight, school being out like this week. They're stuck at home and they don't always have their friends there.
Yeah, it can be a very difficult time to get adjusted. So joining us this morning is Allison Parker. She is the Regional Supervisor for Youth Villages. And she's going to tell us exactly how this winter weather can take a toll on students and really their mental health. Good morning, Allison here. Just talk to us about it. What should parents be watching out for?
Good morning. Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about some of those things that we can do to help during times that we are stuck inside and snow and those types of things. And then also when to call crisis services or those things to look out for. So some of the things that can help prioritize mental health while snowed in, staying on that schedule, having a consistent waking up time and bedtime, meals, playtime, encouraging movement, whether it's bundling up and going outside to enjoy the snow or you're cold at this point and staying inside and having some of those activities there. Practicing self-care as a whole family. Also limiting that time on devices. That can be a way that our kids connect with others as they are out of school and at home. But there's also those downsides to that where there is online bullying or maybe negative things that impact our kids' self-esteem. So some of those warning signs to look out for, maybe talking about death or hopelessness, not wanting to be alive, significant changes in behavior, maybe just feeling like they don't, showing signs of depression and loss of interest in those things, maybe sleeping more while they're at home and out of school and more isolated in their room. And there are ways to help. So I'm with Youth Villages, Specialized Crisis Services, and we are a 24/7 crisis response program. And so if you or your child is experiencing a mental health crisis or any of those things, thoughts of suicide, homicide, so harming yourself or somebody else, there's a couple of numbers that you can call. One is 988, and then our Youth Village's crisis line number is 866-791-9222, and that's a way to talk to one of our professional crisis response counselors that can really help talk through those next steps and how to help there.
Yeah, all right. Allison, thank you so much for joining us here this morning from Youth Villages to help a lot of kids hopefully get over some of this SAD or the seasonal disorder that they're feeling.
Yeah, well, the good news is our Code Red meteorologist Greg Bob is joining us to talk about that warm-up that's on the way. Just got to make it through this weekend.
72 hours and we're in a good place for next week. I'll tell you that right now. We're not done with it yet, but we're on the tail end of our winter weather. Taking a look out your window right now, depending upon where you live, you see a little bit of light snow coming down. Big old fluffy snowflakes here because of how warm we are. The heaviest snowfall still tracking its way through Ashland City, Kingston Springs, Brentwood, Oak Hill. It's all moving down toward the bottom right-hand side of your screen. These dark blues that we're seeing here, these areas are the areas where we're seeing the heavier snowfall. Which direction is it moving? Well, let's track it for you here. Smyrna, I told you about 5 minutes ago that in 10 minutes you'd see some snowflakes popping up, and that is the case, continuing to move in this direction. Franklin, you're also seeing some flakes, and also Thompson Station for the first time this morning, a few snowflakes. Not much going to stick when it comes to this, but they will be those very, very big snowflakes coming down. Could be on your windshield as you head out the door. Keep that in mind. This will be out of here later this morning and toward the afternoon, and then once the snow stops coming down, temperatures will begin to fall even more than they have. Road temperatures will also begin to fall, meaning that all the rain and all of the freezing rain we had yesterday becomes ice by the end of today into tonight. We'll look at your 7-day forecast and plan a bitterly cold weekend coming up in a few minutes.
Still clear traffic out there for you this morning. A couple of things of note. Let's get started here with I-24. This is at Highway 96 out there in Murfreesboro. As you can see, traffic moving along out here just fine after a couple of early morning crashes that did have a couple of lanes shut down. Also, we're starting to see some of those snow flurries make their way out there to the borough this morning, but nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that's really causing big problems, at least not yet. This is something we've been watching very carefully, and that is a cargo van that has slid off the road there, off of Ellington Parkway and down a hill. It doesn't seem like anybody's inside of it. Seems like it may have been there for a while. It's just something the TDOT camera is focusing on, but just goes to show how far off the road some of the cars have gone and how much work it's going to take for tow trucks eventually to pull cars like this back to the roadway. Don't end up like this. Slow down this morning or limit your trips if necessary.
Good advice there, Justin. Thank you. Let's also take a live look over in Clarksville this morning to see the current conditions. The roads here are looking pretty good. You see that snow off to the side, but no big issues at hand at this particular intersection. Stay safe out there. Give yourself plenty of extra time if you do have to hit the road.
8:24 is the time, continuing coverage of the winter weather across the mid-state as the Moore County Sheriff's Department, along with the Paris County Jail inmates, working together to make sure that dogs from a local animal shelter have found a place to stay warm.
Yeah, we have the photos to show you. Take a look here. The department partnering with Friends of Animals in Lynchburg this week. Now, that center has outdoor kennels, which, as you might imagine, do not offer much protection and the frigid temperatures.
Sheriff Tyler Hatfield tells Fox 17 News that they're trusty inmates, inmates that are in good behavior, that they trust around the facility a little bit, are now being allowed to care for some of these dogs.
When I came in this morning, they were taking each dog out basically on a walk to get them some kind of exercise, let them do their business early in the morning. They were feeding. And since I have been here, I've seen 2 or 3 walk by my office doors to go on short walks in and around just to make sure that we don't have any accidents.
Well, Sheriff Hatfield, who you just heard from there, says the pairing teaches the inmates compassion and caring for others. It's just for this week, but right now the sheriff says it could become a regular thing in the future.
Well, speaking of cold weather, we also wanted to know, have you had any damage or significant maintenance issue at your home because of the winter weather? So far, 80% of you have said, no, we're fine. But the 20%, I'm sure they've got nightmare stories to tell. So far, around 435 people have voted. If you want to vote for yourself, you can do so by scanning that QR code right there on your screen. Or, of course, you can check us out over on X, twitter.com. You can find our handle at Fox Nashville.
Taking a look here, please take all the precautions that we've been doing all week long when it comes to dripping the pipes, leaving the cabinets open, making sure that we're not having bursting pipes and the whole 9 yards, because look at the weekend. You're waking up this morning to a temperature right near 30 degrees that will fall to 20 degrees by dinner time. Bitterly cold mornings are going to be ahead tomorrow morning and on Sunday morning. Both mornings will be in the single digits. Wind chills will be sub-zero. Plenty of sun for Sunday. And then we get to some warmer times. I'm going to show you the 7-day forecast in a few moments. Right now, we're still dealing with icy roadways, many side streets that have not been touched since we had the snow 4 days ago. But look what happens going into next week. We get not only warmer air, 45 on Monday, 52 on Tuesday, 59 degrees on Wednesday, 64 on Thursday. Those 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, unfortunately will not be crystal clear. We're going to have some scattered showers that move in, but all that rain, if there's anything left on the roadways, whether it comes to not just necessarily snow or ice, but salt, the brine they've put down, all the treatments will get washed away over those 3 days.
Steer clear traffic out there for you this morning. Quick look here on Ellington Parkway. That has been where the biggest problems have been had throughout the morning by far. You can see where one vehicle is and where the road is and how far of a slide that truck may have had to go, or van in this case, may have had to go just to get there. So please keep in mind, they've treated Ellington. We've seen no more crashes out there as of late, but just know it can creep up on you very, very quickly. Other places we're following include here, Bradley Parkway at Elm Hill Pike. No crashes, just know bridges and overpasses, very icy.
Rain, sleet, or snow,
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
8:30 on a Friday morning, and taking a look here downtown, we have some light snow that's coming down here. A couple of snow showers. Not a lot that's going to stick here this morning, and this is the last of our winter precip, but brutally cold for the weekend. We are still in a code red weather alert for dangerous temperatures coming your way.
Steer clear traffic takes us out to Williamson County this morning. That's I-65 at Morris Lane. Not too bad. However, the ramps and the overpasses could be a slightly different story.
Ready for this winter weather to wrap up. Thanks for joining us here on a Friday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
And I am Justin McFarland. Fox 17 News, of course, your only live and local news source, live with you from 7 until 9. Let's get straight to Greg Bobus. He's going to tell us about the deep freeze that is still to come.
Yes, we are not quite done just yet. We're getting closer and closer to snapping the cold, getting away from the winter weather when it comes to freezing rain and snow, but we're not quite there yet. Taking a look, ice will be our big thing to watch out for later. We're at the warmest point right now that we will be all day long. Temperatures will fall this afternoon into this evening to right around 20 degrees. Secondary roads, side streets, areas that have not been plowed or treated for the snow we had 4 days ago. We'll have an additional layer of ice on them by the end of today from what happened yesterday. Big freezes ahead. Watch out for black ice. Please take it slow. Only a few more days and then we'll get back to normal here across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Winter weather alerts, lots of words on the screen. All you got to know is that driving is going to be tough here for the next day or two, and then we'll get much better by the end of the weekend. Let's talk cold. Right now, current temperature 30 degrees in Nashville. By the end of the day, it will absolutely be a good 15 to 20 degrees colder before you go to bed. By tomorrow morning, we're talking single digits. Temperatures drop the entire day. That allows that freezing rain and rain from yesterday to become ice and to continue to super cool the ground for us. Wind chill advisory overnight tonight until 10 o'clock. 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Keep that in mind. Wind chill values could go as cold as 5 degrees to 10 degrees below zero for all of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. So we're not done just yet. Please stick with me. In about 10 minutes, we're going to show you the 7-day forecast, and you're going to actually smile at a couple of the days next week as we finally get warmer. But we're not only tracking here in the studio and giving you all the information we're seeing here in the newsroom, but we're also out and about for you. Every day we have been, and so is Fox 17's Peyton Muse. She's been live for us here all week long in different locations. And Peyton, what are you seeing this morning that stacks up to what you've seen before in previous mornings?
Well, the amount of ice, Greg, and the glisten, like obviously with the snow and then ice, you know, it kind of like sparkles and glistens on the ground. But now we're seeing more snow come down here in the 12 South area. And I'm going to step out of the frame just because I want to walk you guys through what happened to these two cars. So first, we're going to go to the black car right here. I spoke with the driver. He told me that he was driving down Eastwood Avenue. He was trying to make a left turn to go up a hill. He realized, I can't go up that hill. It's way too icy. So he tried to back down a little bit to turn around and go back on Eastwood Avenue. When he hit the fence, his car, he was unable to kind of gain any traction or get any grip on the road from the icy conditions here. So his car hit the fence, and it is literally hanging over there's a hill, there's a little bit of a slope there. So thank God for that fence, because I think the story would have been differently if that wasn't there. And then for the other car, there's a Mazda that's right next to him. We spoke with the Winston Cavender. He's sitting in the car right now. He's been stuck in his car for 5 hours. He was doing Uber and he dropped somebody off and he made a wrong turn and ended up getting stuck here. Both of them are waiting for police to arrive and get here and help them out. But obviously very dangerous, slippery conditions. And NDOT, we know they've cleared out primary roads. They were working on secondary roads, but that was before this second winter snow wave kind of came through Middle Tennessee and hit the Nashville area. So they also have 500 requests from Hub Nashville for people that are asking for the city to come by and plow. So they're asking for patience right now and understanding as they're trying to see what happens with this winter condition before they tackle those neighborhood areas. I know they're hitting the most popular areas, but they are asking for people, if you do have a condition like this, if your roads look like this in your backyard, submit a request through Hub Nashville so that way they can get the ball rolling on some of these roadways. Reporting live in 12 South, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your coded station.
All right, Peyton, thank you so much. Let's take a look at what we're facing out there on the interstates. This is going to be I-65 at Moores Lane down on the south side of town in the Franklin and Brentwood area. The snow is flying. The cars are also moving along just very well. Keep in mind, a lot of the snow and ice are still there on the ramps. If you look all the way over to the left side of your screen, look at the ramps there. It is covered with ice. And that ramp in particular, I know it, goes uphill. So it's still going to be a bit of a drive there if you got to get off like this car is doing as it tries to make its way uphill. It looks like it's going to be able to do so. It looks like there's a path there for it. Just know it could be a rough road there in certain parts of Williamson County and across the midstate. Well, that winter weather advisory is still in effect for most of us here in Middle Tennessee, as the combination of the freezing rain and the cold temperature has left a lot of the roads and ice. A lot of the roads, I should say, in pipes rather, extremely icy.
Very slick out there. Fox 17 News' Kieran Aguilar joining us to explain more about a situation happening right at the line here, Williamson and Davidson County.
Yeah.
So I just want to start by showing you this side of Temple Road here in Davidson County. You can see that it's filled with slushy snow, and that, I mean, this car is driving mid-pace, but we have seen drivers drive a little bit slower because of the conditions. And it's a little bit different on this side. This is the Williamson County side of Temple Road. I know there's a little bit snow falling, but what we saw earlier was that it was clear, and you saw just how smoothly that driver drove by. Now, I'm going to turn the camera around because I actually am with the owner of this house behind me. It is the last house on Davidson County, and he tells us about how he's feeling that one side of the road has been left untreated while another has.
Yes, it's basically a tale of two counties. You've got Williamson County treats literally all the way to the edge of Asbury. They do a 3-point turn and go back. Davidson County doesn't treat this side, and this is a big artery with thousands of cars that go through here every day. And if you want to go to the grocery, if you need to pick up anything, you have to go that direction, and it's just not safe.
Absolutely. And how are you feeling about the fact that, do you feel like they're not making this side a priority?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say so. And I know that myself and a couple of the other homeowners that live along here, I think we feel a little bit trapped sometimes that we just can't get out. And even in an emergency, we're not able to get out if we had to. So it's definitely an ignored section of the road. And I mean, I would like to see it plowed or at least treated in some fashion. Yeah.
All right, well, that's Ryan Glore, and he's basically just giving us a recap of how he's feeling. Now, we have questions as to why these roads have not been treated similarly, and so we've reached out to the Emergency Management Agency of Williamson County, who tells us that they've pre-treated these roads knowing that the winter storm was going to hit, while NDOT, the National Department of Transportation, hasn't gotten back to us in response to our questions. When we have those answers, we'll keep you updated. Reporting live in Nashville, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. Thank you so much for working out there, getting those answers. So we're the only local station, reminder here, with your traffic and weather updates live from 4 until 9. Up next, our Code Red meteorologist tracking those temperatures, chilly temperatures, and Justin McFarland tracking those slippery Friday morning commutes.
Dirty tricks at the car wash.
Closing in on 8:42 here this morning and taking a look at your forecast. This is what we're seeing on Doppler radar. One little pocket of some light snow showers that are coming down right now, and this is not going to last that much longer. I'm going to zoom in here and take a look at the Nashville area where we have some snow that I'm going to put a reverse track on. The back edge of this, when does it get to Nashville? It will be about a half hour more worth of these snow showers that are coming down, covering some windshields in some areas, and also a little bit of light snow on some sidewalks. This is not going to be a big deal. This will move out by the end of this morning, and then we get much colder very quickly moving into the end of today, and a bitter cold snap one more time going into Saturday and Sunday. We'll look at in the next check of your forecast.
Steer clear traffic out there for you. Let's take a quick look here at what we're dealing with out in the interstates. This is going to be I-65 near Moores Lane down there in the Brentwood area. Traffic moving along pretty well. No big problems. This is the look towards the airport. If you've got a flight this morning that you need to catch, there are a few delays up there at Nashville International, but getting there seems to be okay. You can get off there at the exit. No major slowdowns, no crashes to tell you about. We'll continue to watch it.
We're also watching this shot right here. This is over in Franklin where the snow showers still coming down. This is like a messy part of town. Again, this is over in Franklin. Give yourself some extra time if you're heading out the door to this spot. Yeah, not so good.
You overdraw your account. Wells Fargo.
Welcome back. Right now, Fox 17 News, we are busy reaching out to our local crews to see how they're responding to this cold winter weather.
Joining us on the phone right now is Rebecca Hammond with the Tennessee Department of Transportation here, who's trying to tell us exactly how people should approach the roads. So, Rebecca, got to ask, first of all, how are the major interstates? I think that's what a lot of people are wondering about after they can get out of their own neighborhood, of course.
Yeah, right. The trick is to get out of your own neighborhood on those local streets. But we are seeing good conditions on the interstate right now. If you encountered ramps or overpasses that may have been slick yesterday, they will likely still be slick. We have seen some snow and some black ice in some places. So we're warning people, of course, to just take it slow, take your time, because hitting a patch of black ice at 40 miles an hour would be very different than hitting it at 70 miles an hour.
All good advice. Rebecca, I do want to ask you, this morning we're seeing a little bit of snow showers out there. One area in Franklin was looking pretty nasty. Is that slowing down how y'all are getting out there with the crews in any kind of way?
Yeah, so we've been monitoring. I know that we have dispatched crews. If they have been seeing snow, which I do know, like you were saying, in Franklin, they have started to see it, I think even just like an hour, 2 hours ago. So we've got crews out. And they have been treating, I know they treated a little bit overnight and will, of course, continue throughout the morning as they see it fall.
All right, Rebecca, I know you've been busy as well. Ellington Parkway, I've seen the crews out there. They've had to shut down Ellington at one point just to treat the road. So I know you guys are fully capable of doing that if necessary. And you want people to be patient, I'm sure.
Yeah, just bear with us. I mean, we have our help crews and our TMC staff who alert us to slick spots, and we'll go out and treat as we see them. For example, at 9 a.m. this morning, we're going to be putting I-40 East over on the west side of town in Nashville down to 1 lane because we had a bridge joint expansion that popped out and needs to be repaired simply because of all of the freezing temperatures and constant plowing. So when there are incidents, we are responding and will respond in kind.
I'm sorry, Rebecca, where was that? One more time, you said I-40 East in West Nashville. Where exactly?
Yeah, the exact location is I-40 East at mile marker 194. So that's going to be over near Bellevue on the west side of Nashville.
Not too far from McCrory Lane over there in that area. All right, Rebecca,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
so
we're pressed for time.
That'll be down to 1 lane.
Okay.
At 9 a.m.
All right. Thank you so much for that information here. Rebecca Hammond's there with the Tennessee Department of Transportation.
Getting those real-time updates. Greg, what are we seeing with the snow showers? How much longer for that?
This is not going to last all that much longer, but it is putting a little coating down on some surfaces, on some windshields, and even on some of the roadways that are out there right now. You can see the dark blues here. And this is the area we were just talking about. The whole Franklin area is seeing some decent snowfall, circled right there on your map. So we're talking everywhere from basically Thompson Station all the way up 65, leading your way through Franklin and Brentwood up toward Nashville. We are seeing some decent snowfall. This is moving, though, to the bottom right-hand side of your screen, so we're going to see this move out and track out of the Nashville area in a half hour. It'll be out of Franklin in roughly an hour and move away from Murfreesboro in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. You will not put down much. Less than an inch of snow will fall, but there will be some minor accumulations, and the leading edge of this continues to move to the south and east. We're talking about areas like Manchester in 10 to 15 minutes, as well as McMinnville. This is not an all-day event. This is the next couple of hours event, and then we're done. Future Track going to confirm that for us here, leading us into the late stages of this morning. Nothing else we have to contend with when it comes to any significant weather that is coming down as far as precipitation. However, on the backside of this little snow band that we've got, we have colder temperatures. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, 6 degrees overnight tonight. We'll be at 3 degrees overnight tomorrow into Sunday. Both of those days will have wind chill values that put us into a wind chill advisory. They will be below 0, as cold as 10 degrees below tonight and tomorrow night.
Steer clear traffic out there for you this morning on this Friday. Let's get you over to Ellington Parkway. They did shut it down about an hour ago to treat the road to make sure that everything was okay after a number of accidents like this one, where you can see that van has slid all the way off of Ellington Parkway, ended up over, I can't even call it a ditch. It's down over near a tree line there off of Ellington, but they have treated the road and reopened it. But as we just heard Rebecca Hammond with THP indicate, there are areas of town, including I-40 near mile marker 192 and 194, where they're going to have to shut things down just to repair a few things that have been damaged because of the ice.
And the ice is the big story. Temperatures falling throughout today, snow coming down right now. We just talked about the timeline when the snow ends. We'll talk about when the cold ends, and I'm finding a 60-degree temperature for you here by the end of the 7-day, right after this break.
Let's go! It's
Welcome back. We know it's been a long week for all of us dealing with this cold blast from Old Man Winter, so we are mapping out, so to speak, the numbers.
Yeah, we did a little deep dive the last couple of years just to see how what we just saw earlier in the week stacks up to the last 3 winters and how much snow we saw the entire winter season. 2020 to 2021, 5.4 inches the entire winter. Now a little bit more 2021 through 2022, 12.3 inches. That was 4 times, almost 4 times the amount of snow we get in an average winter. And then we had 1.2 inches of snow last winter. That was it. Now, Erica, we saw 7.6 inches of snow Sunday into Monday. That's already more than we get in an entire year and more than 2 of the last 3 years
and
for the entire winter season.
All I have to say is make it stop. Make it stop.
Wait till Monday and we'll look at your 7-day forecast in a few moments. I got some good stuff coming up for you.
All right, in the meantime, here's a recap of your top stories. One of the stories of the week we've been following out there is power outages. Right now, according to NES, we've got 225 customers who are without power. Looks like there's an area there in South Nashville that has a large cluster of around 205 customers there who are without power. That looks to be just off of the Highway 31A there near the Concord Hills area. So heads up in that direction as they continue to try and get the power back on. But other than that, we're good to go in most other places across Nashville as they've been able to keep the power on. And that is great news when you have weather like what we have had over the last 24 hours or so.
And that weather's still going to be one thing we have to watch going into the weekend. You can see right there, First Horizon Park, everything's still snow covered. What is snow covered right now will be snow covered until Monday. Temperatures do not get above freezing again until we get into Monday itself. We actually get colder. By the end of today, we'll be right near 20 degrees at dinner time. Overnight tonight and tomorrow night, wind chill advisories will go into effect. Actual air temperature tonight, waking up Saturday morning, 6 degrees. Waking up Sunday morning, it'll be 3 degrees. Factoring in wind that will pick up later today, we're going to feel as cold as 5 to 10 below both of those nights into the morning. So if you're a person on the weekend that makes plans early, likes to get up, get moving, run the errands, do the things, we're not going to have snow, but bitterly cold like we had Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning. So keep that in mind as you're making your plans here.
That is downright dangerous.
It is.
Very cold out there. So
Stay
please
warm.
be safe and stand by and stay tuned. America's Steals and Deals up next.
Have a great weekend.